Okay, well then we can get
I
started.
don't know, it was pretty bad.
Good morning. Are these all on? I'd like to call to order the 2026 State Legislative Priorities Workshop of September 9th, 2025. At this time, please silence all electronic devices and mute your microphones. Please rise for the invocation and pledge of allegiance. There we go.
Good morning.
Morning.
Let's pray. Father, we come to you today, and it's an important time as we've gathered today, as we look forward to 2026, and we consider the points that the state legislature is proposing to us. So as we've gathered today, I ask that you help us to understand how best to incorporate those into Pasco County for the benefit of the people here, Lord. And at the same time, whenever we gather, we know that there are agencies within our county who are hoping and looking forward to funding, Lord, yet we understand that the requests normally exceed the funding. So help us to have wisdom when decisions are made today, and help us to have understanding if things don't work out for us just the way we'd hoped. So be with us, be in the midst of our conversation, and just give us a great workshop together. And I lift us all up in your name. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we are going to go around the room and introduce, not the whole room, we're going to go around the table and introduce ourselves. And we're going to start right over here.
Hi, I'm Vance. I work for Representative Randy Maggard.
And you don't have a mic, so if you do speak, just ask for one. Okay. Jonathan?
Hi, I'm Jonathan Till. I work for State Senator Danny Burgess.
Matthew Lawson. I also work for State Senator Danny Burgess.
I'm Representative Kevin Steele, District 55.
Which we're sitting in, I think.
Jaden Kukuza, legislative aide to Representative Steele.
Chase Mohannon, legislative aide to Representative Yeager.
Jeff Steinsnyder, County Attorney.
Seth Waitman, Pasco County Commission.
Chair Catherine Starkey.
Jack Mariano, Vice Chair.
Lisa Yeager.
Randy Maggard, District 54.
Mike Carvalho, Pasco County Administrator.
Joanna Cheshire, Chief of Staff, County Administration.
Mike Moore, the Southern Group.
Mike, is Sarah joining by Zoom?
Sarah went to the West Pasco Government Center, so she will be rerouting to here.
Okay. All right, and Sarah, we won't introduce her when she gets here, so she's with
Advocacy Partners.
Yeah. Okay, so, well, I just want to thank staff for putting this together. Ralph is on vacation, but thank you, Joanna, for all the work you did to help pull this off. Thanks to our lobbyists also, and the members of our local delegation for attending and being part of this important discussion. And Joanna, I am going to turn this over to you this morning.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Before we get started, I just want to offer a little bit of context and the process and some objectives for the workshop. So this is our second year, I believe, doing a legislative workshop as we go into the legislative session. So thank you so much for your time. I know that you all have, the legislative delegation has its own meetings going leading up to the legislative session. So this means a lot that you would take time out of your schedule to meet with us and hear about the county priorities. The process, we met one-on-one with our commissioners. This is the first time that they're all kind of discussing this together. This is a work in progress. We also met with our team, to hear from the departments of what their priorities are, appropriations as well as proposals, policy proposals. And so we kind of flushed them through this, a matrix, if you will. We really considered especially with the appropriations asks, we considered the amount of the appropriations, whether or not there was a match for it, alternative funding for that kind of thing. And we really kind of skim from the top of the ones that we think would be the most successful, but this is still a work in progress. And so we want to hear from you all of, what to expect during the session, what of these projects and proposals kind of resonate with you. The objectives for this workshop is hopefully we come up with what will then become our actual legislative priorities that will be approved in an upcoming board meeting, hopefully the end of September. So we do have a PowerPoint. The copies are in front of you. We'll get started with that. Mike, do you want to say a couple words about legislative priorities?
Sure. Again, thanks to everybody for being here. It's an honor to represent the county. And we're very grateful, obviously, for Rep. Maggard and Rep. Steele for being here as well. And just kind of kick things off, before you hear from the county and the county commissioners, we wanted to hear from each one of you.
Exactly.
And we wanted to hear your thoughts. What are some of your priorities for the county? What are some of your policy objectives? So we can work together and collaboratively work together, not just for, again, the county's priorities, but yours as well. So I know if Rep. Steele, Rep. Maggard, if you want to kick things off and maybe just talk about some of your upcoming priorities and how we can be of assistance.
Well, it seems like we say this every year. We don't know what the budget's going to be like. Last year was quite interesting. I do hope we do not do 102 days again. It'd be nice to come home a little earlier than what we did last time, but it'd be what it may. Really, I think from my standpoint in District 54, the Senator Burgess and I have talked quite extensively over the summer. Our priorities have been a couple of things. One is the Emergency Management Center that just, we're going to see if we can get that through one way or the other. So that's probably our top priority as far as that, him and I are concerned. The second thing we're really focused on is, and last year was a phenom as far as flooding, we're really going to try to drive our municipalities to look at anything to do with flooding, anything to do with water movement, something along that line. Now, we all know last year was, hopefully we'll never see that again. That was a phenom, but at the end of the day, we did find some weaknesses in just normal storms and things like that we feel that needs to be addressed one way or the other. And I don't know, Mr. Till may have a different thought from the senator, but that's the conversation we had over the summer that we really wanted to prioritize. When we sat there and talked to Zephyr Hills, this is the same thing we're going to tell them as it is St. Anne, as it is St. Leo and Dade City. If those are not top of your list, it's going to be hard for us to put it in there. Now, I know there's other projects and I haven't seen all of yours yet, but as of right now, that seems to be Danny and I's top priorities that we want to go in and try to accomplish to try to get those projects in works. But we all know how long it takes to get something, get it to the shovel-ready stage. And so that policy-wise, I don't, nothing really sticks out for me. There's a couple of things we've been kicking around, but I really have nothing in the hopper that policy-wise that somebody's brought to me. Probably we'll do a couple of more autism bills this year. We did do a big one last year. We'll look at that again this year. But right now, I really have anything policy-wise that somebody's brought to us that's like, earth-shattering for us to change. So that's from my standpoint.
Thanks, Rep. Maggard. Representative Steele?
That's a loaded question. Because if we give you our secrets now, somebody else is going to jump in front of us and try to take it. There are copycats in this state, believe it or not. Thank you guys for having me. This is the first time I've been here, so I wasn't prepared to actually have dialogue about the county. I look at policy, but I like Maggard said, the emergency management center is important. We need to start focusing on protecting the citizens and firefighters is another issue, and police officers. So we need to make sure that we keep them intact and changing out all those fire departments to make sure that they're ready for the men and women to be safe at the same time while they operate in our county. My focus from a legislative perspective has always been about giving back to the people that actually pay the taxes. And so most of the focus I've done has been stopping scammers from scamming the senior citizens in our state, as well as everybody else. So there is another bill I'm going to run again this session. Last session I got Stop the Scammer bill put out, and this one is going to be a little different. It's stopping the phone calls that are being made and coming in, because those, I don't know how many people here are familiar with phone systems. I am. I worked for an ILEC and a CLEC, so I understand phone traffic. I actually built some of the Star 6.9, Star 6.6 features for GTE. Those can be controlled in the switch. They can stop systematically without being spoofed, showing you somebody else's number. So my plan is to make sure they identify the true number of the caller so that you can call them back if you want to.
Blow a whistle in their ear.
What's that?
Blow a whistle in their phone.
Yeah, so it's common sense things. Property taxes. I ran 3 bills, as you guys know, last session to reduce property taxes with a small budgetary cut versus a whack. The governor's never going to get that accomplished. I know everybody here wants to do that, but the first second you try to cut complete property taxes out, every sheriff is going to be out there saying they're going to defund the police. You're going to be defunding the fire department. You're going to be defunding education. And so you have to have a plan to do that, not just cut. And so my plan was, a common sense approach, which is your house's value should be set at what you paid for your house. We should not be charging, an exorbitant amount above what you paid for your home. And so it's the common sense approach. I call it the reverse of Kamala Harris, which is taxing on unrealized capital gains. You don't realize the value of your home until you sell it. So why would you pay capital gains? It's the only asset you have that you're charged in excess of what you paid for it. Even a company, when you're sitting in your office chair, you have to pay tax on that every year, and that's a diminished value. Even on your car, if you can imagine being recharged taxes on a car that you bought, it's the same thing with your house. So I ran a bill to reduce it back to that, and there's ways to cut the expenses on top of that when you're cutting back the taxes. There's also a section in our law. Sorry, I don't know how much time I have, but there's a section in our law that has duplicative leadership, and we were in charge of doging, but before the governor decided to doge, the House of Representatives doged every agency in the state, and they tasked me with elder affairs, which to me it's like they don't want me to get reelected. That's 34% of the population, so there's no statewide race in my book. But with that being said, I went to it with the mindset of I'm not going to attack any single benefit that goes to the individuals that we represent. I want to look at it from a different perspective. And so in doing that, I identified 67 people being managed by 77 people. So when you think about yes, it's called a telephone management style, and it's telephone pole management style. So I'm going to address that section of the law and eliminate it. I'm going to try to at least this session, because to me, there's no reason to have thank you very much, multiple people managing, or single people managing single people. We also had duplicative services inside of that. And by the way, 89.1% of everything Elder Affairs does for our state is outsourced to a private company. Okay? So they only do a small segment inside of it, which is another duplicative service. And in that duplicative service, a doctor recommends they go into a nursing home, and they have to be validated by a nurse to verify that this doctor knows what he's talking about. They don't only do that once. They do it every year for every patient, every single time. And I don't know about you, but I know I'm not getting better, faster, and more efficient the older I get. And I don't think people are getting better, faster, and more efficient that are in nursing homes to come out of it. So there's no reason to be doing those services. That was $14 million off the top. So there was about $48 million that we could cut just in elder affairs without affecting a single benefit to the constituents. It was removing duplicative management and removing duplicative services that are not needed. So those are the kind of things I want to do. I have a solution for insurance, homeowners insurance. We can talk about that at a different time. It's a little more complex, but I have Rick Scott and Laura Lee running some stuff federally, so it would help out. It would also help the state out because we'd eliminate the risk that the state has under citizens with my plan. It would actually nullify them completely, and it would benefit the people of the center part of the state because we wouldn't be pulling the risk with the people who are at risk the most with the people who are not at risk. And so it kind of lowers the cost of insurance doing this for everybody else, not just the people who are on the coast. So thank you for giving me the time to talk.
Sure.
Yeah.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
if you don't mind, obviously we have representatives
Yes.
from some of the representatives and senators that could not attend today. So obviously maybe starting with Jonathan and Matt from Senator Burgess's office.
Excuse me. Senator Burgess, first off, he apologizes he couldn't be here. He's actually in Wauchula this morning meeting with President Albritton, so hopefully good things come from that. Like what Representative Maggard said, one of Senator Burgess's big priorities is inland flooding. We saw what happened in the county after Debbie, Helene, and Milton last year, particularly Milton on the east side and Central Pasco, where the senator represents. So he is very committed to ensuring that we're hopefully not going to have a Milton every year, but we're going to have another one at some point. That's just the reality of living in Florida. And he would like to make sure that the things we saw, particularly in some of the neighborhoods in Zephyr Hills that were devastated by the flooding, that we at least have the infrastructure we can't stop 18 inches of water, but at least we can direct it to a place where it'll do less harm. On policy, Senator Burgess is chairman of the Senate Budget Committee on Education, K-12 education. So a lot of what he's focusing on right now actually deals with what Representative Steele mentioned on taxes and revenue and how much we're going to have to spend on the education budget. So really we're kind of keeping, the senator's kind of keeping his powder dry to see what our numbers are and then how we can best invest those numbers to get the education and get the, address some of the issues with the scholarship program, the Step Up Scholarship Program and those sort of things. So those are kind of what the senator is focused on, obviously. So the senators get unlimited number of bills. House members are limited on the number of bills that they have. So I'm fairly confident the senator will have a decent number of bills, but we're still in the process of looking at ideas and coming up with what he wants to take on for next legislative session.
Thank you. Chase, Representative Yeager, office.
Thank you all for having me. I'm sorry Representative Yeager could not be here today. But I am here, but I know, to everyone's point, inland flooding, especially over here in West Pasco, is definitely a big issue that we're going to take on. And I know Representative Yeager, we're still working through the process of getting in line what we want to do for this next upcoming session. But I know one of his big issues, I know he's always, like to Representative Steele's point, we're always interested in helping the police, helping the firefighters, helping small business. So yeah.
Great. Thank you, Chase.
Yes, sir.
Madam Chair?
So that's everybody? We don't have anyone here from Holcomb's
No, ma'am.
office? Okay. All right. Before we dive into this, can we just mention a little bit about the federal money and some of the rules around it? Some of the good things, some of the bad things about the federal money that we received. Well, we hope to receive from HUD. We've been told we're getting it.
Yes, actually, and at your next meeting, you'll be recognizing that revenue. So Pasco County was awarded a grant from the federal government through the Housing and Urban Development Department, $585 million. Now, this is a HUD grant. The county has really taken great measures over the past 6 months to ensure that that contract is in place, and we have been hitting all of our milestones well on schedule, I should say. And so we're at the point now where we will be hiring a consultant to assist us in how those programs are managed. To the commissioner's point, a vast majority of that money must be used towards what we'll call housing. It is a HUD grant at the end of the day. That housing ranges from everything from affordable housing to we could even be assisting homeowners with repairs or elevation of their homes out of the flood zone. So we'll be having programs to take advantage of that. The remaining dollars are split up between what we'll call infrastructure as well as I don't want to use the term resiliency, but I'm looking more to mitigation. Thank you. And mitigation projects as well as economic revitalization. The mitigation projects are probably our most competitive funds because they are the least restrictive. And we have a number of projects that we will vet through a formal process that would go towards things that you're talking about, such as flood issues. For example, out east, probably one of the neatest projects that I've seen is the Zephyr Creek project out in the Zephyr Hills, which I think is a pretty good project in my opinion. But we have a number of projects that would qualify for that. The restrictions, as you point out, Commissioner, do have to benefit area median incomes that are, I forget the numbers, Joanna, 60 to 80% or less than 80%. There are restrictions in terms of income qualifications and census tracts as to how those numbers get invested. So it's not a quick, straightforward process. And as with anything that comes from the federal government, there are plenty of strings and red tape attached. But we'll certainly take their money and reinvest it in our community.
One of them is we have to spend it and then we get reimbursed.
Yes. Now we do have an account that we can draw out of, and which is good. But there are some complications and cash flow and liquidity things that we have to keep in mind as we try to go forward on that.
And then I think another restriction is it can't be something that's already in our funding pipeline.
Yes, ma'am.
Correct?
That would be supplanting of funds, and so we have to be very careful on what we have budgeted things for versus that. But we have 6 years to spend the money, so we have a 5-year plan. So as long as we're thoughtful in our approach, we intend to try to thread those needles.
So we're, and another unique thing about this money is that we can match federal grants with it. We can use federal money to match a federal grant. So we are going to work to stretch this money as far as we can. But I just wanted you to know that as you look at our proposals, we have these things in our minds as we're coming up with lists.
Correct.
And Hillsborough received 900 million?
Yeah, roughly 800. I think Pinellas received closer in the sevens.
Yeah.
So.
And this was for Idalia, Helene, and Milton.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Question.
Yep.
Are any of your thoughts going forward in these that you're planning on doing that match with? Or all of these outside of what you're thinking to use the money for?
So that is part of the matrix. So when we as Joanna mentioned, when we looked at the projects that we wanted to bring forward, we looked at alternative funding sources. And if there were alternative funding sources other than the state, we're going to explore those versus asking the state for those dollars.
So Madam Chair, I think Joanna's, ready to go ahead and start with the priorities.
Welcome, Sarah.
Slides.
Hi, apologies for my
No problem. We've all done that.
that.
Thank goodness for Ridge Road, right?
There you go. And the traffic was not bad at all. It was lovely.
All right, Joanna?
Okay, thank you. We have this PowerPoint put together. It's also in front of you. We do have some key team members in the audience today, so if we have any questions, they're hopefully able to come up and answer any specific questions there. But we'll go ahead and get started with appropriations, and then we just have a couple policy, not specifics, but just categories that we really want to watch and care for going forward. But we'll start with the money. Okay, I just want to make sure I'm in control here. Okay, perfect. So to get started, the fire rescue decon truck. I believe we have some Chief Quinn is here.
Mike, put that mic closer.
To me? Okay. Okay. Thank you. Yeah, we love this one because it's not too much out of the ballpark there, and the truck is spec'd and kind of ready to go there. So it's something that we could
Yes,
potentially do
ma'am.
this fiscal
Yes,
year.
thank you, representatives. This truck, since 2019, when you guys, implemented the cancer presumption bill, firefighter health and safety has always been a top priority for our organization as well as for the commissioner. So we currently have a decon program. This truck is going to be a replacement truck, but also an upgrade. What it's going to help do is we currently service about 900 firemen and women right now, providing clean, cancer-free bunker gear after every single incident. This truck is going to help us provide that gear with them, provide equipment on scene to actually wash and decon some of our other gear as well, and help us continue that progress. I have conceptual ideas of what the actual truck will look like, but if you picture a snap-on tool delivery truck with a workspace in the back and storage, that's kind of what it's going to be like, but we don't have an actual full rendering. I'm sorry.
Not a problem.
No, that's okay, Chief.
Yes, Mr. Maggard.
Is this a countywide truck? Or
Yes, sir.
just a one side?
Chief, maybe explain maybe for the representatives and our team members from the senator's office and the other representatives, maybe just get into the weeds a little bit more of the importance and instances and the negative things that could happen without having another decon truck.
Thank you, Mr. Moore. Absolutely. So, as you know, cancer is one of the leading killers of firemen and women right now. So, we've took an initiative of providing them with, it was two options, whether we dive into a large financial burden of providing 2 sets of bunker gear, which are upwards of almost $10,000 a set these days, or provide a way to provide them with clean secondary sets of gear. So we don't have to buy 1,800 sets of gear. We buy about 1,000 sets. And, keeping our men and women cancer free is part of our initiative, which also includes our hot, warm, and cold zones that we build into our fire stations, which also implements into our cancer screenings that we're doing yearly for our firefighters as well, and our occupational health program that we have. And it's kind of this holistic, all-encompassing approach to help reduce our cancer numbers.
And also, Chief, prior to this type of stuff, firefighters would just have to bring their stuff home and wash it in their washing machine.
Yes, sir.
That's
what some of the research has found, is that we've actually, contaminated our kids and our wives and family members.
Right.
Yes, Representative Sue.
Thank you very much. Thank you guys for what you do. How much of the contaminants are from the actual vehicles versus fires that you fight?
It gets transferred into the vehicles from the fire. So, as you can imagine, anything that catches on fire these days, none of it's natural material. It's all full synthetic, and that stuff gets absorbed into the bunker gear. It gets absorbed into our skin. That's where most of the cancer rates are actually highest at, is around the neck, the groin, the wrist, the ankle areas, the head areas. That's where the bunker gear is drawn tight. And what happens is in the past is we would get back into that truck with that dirty gear, those dirty air packs, dirty helmets, dirty tools, and the contaminants would get transferred into that fire truck. Not knowing that, the next crew coming in would absorb those chemicals as well. And if any of you have been in a fire truck 5-6 days after we've been on a structure fire, you can still smell that smell inside the truck. That's that gear and equipment still off-gassing all those carcinogens. So removing that from the vehicles completely, removing that from the inside of the living quarters of the fire stations completely has helped reduce those numbers. And we haven't got a lot of data back, but it makes sense.
But, sorry. How much of it is, though, from like the diesel itself, from the diesel truck versus?
Some of that as well from the diesel. And we have incorporated diesel exhaust capture systems within our fire stations. We've also started producing our fire trucks with a new PFAS preventative filtration system in the exhaust as well. So we've taken steps to mitigate that.
Thank you.
One other question. So if there's a fire in Dade City and a fire in Newport Richey, does the truck drive to both?
We have 2. So we do have 2, but sometimes we have to send both to the same call. If it's a large incident, we can handle multiple incidents at one time. Well, actually, we can handle up to 3 or 4, because we'll revert back to grassroots tactics. We'll throw a bunch of gear inside of a delivery van if we have to and get them there to maintain that program. But we prefer to be able to wash and decon all the equipment there on scene.
So, Chief, this would just be an added one for a total of 2? What would be your optimal number?
Yes, sir. So we currently have two now, but one is just a standard box truck.
Got it.
That doesn't have the capability of decontaminating any of the air packs, helmets, tools, equipment on scene. This truck will be that replacement as well as the upgrade to the program. So the other vehicle does have all those capabilities.
And Chief, I think, with the continued growth of Pasco County, and obviously we're seeing more rooftops on a consistent basis, and now you're seeing a lot of things go vertical.
Yes, sir.
There's more of a need than ever. And we're kind of thinking about the future as well.
Right.
You know what the growth's going to be in 2030, in 2035, and probably in 1 million people in 2040, if not sooner.
Absolutely, and that's what we're kind of looking forward to, is trying to, the program is sufficient now. We're looking for the future to expand the program, to make the program a little more accompanying. And, with the fiscal constraints that we have, trying to just keep pace with the organizational goals as well as some of the optional programs that we're maintaining. We're trying to keep course.
Representative Steele.
Thank you. And this is probably more for the county commissioners than it is for you. But while we're thinking about the development and growth of Pasco County, are we including impact fees for these new communities? Not for everybody, just these new communities, to have fire departments with these trucks, with all of the gear they need, versus having the entire rest of the county pay for their responsibility?
Yes, sir. And in fact, the board recently adopted a change in the fire impact fee and how that is assessed to capture those costs. And that covers the cost of new capital equipment, which would be fire stations as well as equipment like this. We also take investments from our penny sales tax and put towards public safety as well to help augment those dollars. But for the most part, we are looking for development to pay its way.
And we also remove the cap.
Yes, those are the changes, right? Yeah, remove the cap on some commercial properties that would allow, to increase the collection rate of the fire impact fee.
But we're talking about impact fees, not taxes, right?
Correct. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Okay, I just want to make sure I'm confirming.
Okay? All right, thank you so much, Chief.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next.
Thank you.
Before we go
Oh.
on, are these in any particular order in the pack, like a priority order, or just?
No, the
No.
board still has to meet and set their priorities.
It should be.
As a board.
We will get that to you, but right now this is.
I mean, it sounded like.
Actually-
That seems like a priority to me.
I haven't seen these myself, so this, all of us.
I mean, the
were-
chief sounded like he was very enthusiastic about this being the first one.
As he should be.
It comes down if the state, if we see some hesitation from state leadership, then you probably won't see it on the final list. So it's a fishing expedition, it seems.
Is someone coming up for the Shady Hills?
Yes, we do have some folks that can help out with this one, but this is one of the sidewalk projects. We have a couple intersection improvements later in the presentation, but this is a sidewalk project that we felt good about because it's in kind of the sweet spot of what we're requesting, and it is shovel ready, and I think is.
Before we jump on, I can't thank the members of our delegation enough for what you guys have accomplished with sidewalks for our schools and our kids. I think in the last 3 years, we're pushing some close to $8 million from the state, plus we have penny money that's gone to it, and we've been, with your help, incredibly successful in tackling sidewalks for the most dangerous schools, in order from the most dangerous, and chipping away at the list in the county. And it's really been a team effort from the state, county, and with the school district. So it's just been very successful, and it allows parents to feel more confident that their kids can walk to school safely with the later start times, and with the busing situation, and folks can get to work too. They feel more comfortable leaving for work, and so it's just been a really nice success story over the last couple of years, and we couldn't have done it without y'all's help. It really means a lot. They're not overly exciting projects on paper, but I can tell you the impact that it has on communities and for parents and for our school kids, and even for the teachers. That way kids are getting to school on time. It means so much more than y'all can ever know. So thank you.
And a little context with that too. I don't remember when the time switched, but for many decades, Pasco County, when they built roads, we didn't build sidewalks. As you know, living on the east side, there's a lot of roads without sidewalks. But now we do put a sidewalk and a multi-use path on the side. So as our road network grows, we're building them organically, but we still are filling in from that century of building roads with no sidewalks. So it's tough to see kids walking in the dark on the side of on a shoulder, getting to school. So we've had, yeah.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, just to follow this, she says, so all these new developments coming in front of the developments, they're putting the sidewalks in. We're even taking a mobility fees to go stretch them further, to go try to connect to the next piece that's coming up. So we're making sure that we're doing whatever we can every time one's coming in to make sure they're protecting their own and helping the neighborhood get better as well.
Good morning, members of the board, representatives. My name is Panos Conces. I'm the Assistant County Engineer. I am with the Transportation Engineering Department. This appropriation is for a 2.6-mile sidewalk, 5-foot sidewalk on Shady Hills. The limits are from Mary Ciel Elementary to Bosley Drive. And it includes a pedestrian crossing and a flashing beacon at Greenland Lane to provide access to a local park there, and also includes a stretch of 10-foot multi-use path to connect with the Suncoast Trail on the south end. So this sidewalk is very important because there is a lot of schools there. There are several schools. There are students walking right now on the grass. So it's very important that we provide this sidewalk. Now, as the commissioners pointed out, as part of the developments, other developments as they come along, they're building other segments on Shady Hills. Also, because of the increased traffic we see lately on Shady Hills, we got the direction from the board to consider action for a widening Shady Hills Road. So we are working on that right now. So this is shovel ready. We have completed the design, so we are ready to go to construction.
If I could add, something that we're seeing is the growth of Hernando County. And, they're coming through our county to get to work. And so Shady Hills is one of those roads that is getting a lot of Hernando traffic. And we have added quite a lot of industrial jobs on that road too. So we have large trucks interacting with Cruz Lake Middle and those that are elementary school there, Mary Giella, and it's kind of a mix for disaster right there on Shady Hills. Yes.
I'm a math guy, so I'm just doing math in my head and in my calculator. Did you say 2.6 miles?
2.6 miles.
Okay, that's like $254.95 a foot.
Yeah.
Is that
it's at least $1 million a mile for a sidewalk.
Why? Is that acquiring land, or you already have access to the
No,
real
this is
estate?
within the existing right of way. This
So
is plain
so it's just concrete
for
and-
construction, and it includes also the CEI services to the firm that will supervise the construction. So it's total construction work and supervision of the construction.
I mean, that just seems excessive per linear foot, $250 a foot.
Well, it certainly will be bid, and the market prices will dictate ultimately, but these are budgetary cost estimates that we
Yes.
have come up with. We share your sentiment. That's why we bid work to ensure we get best pricing.
Commissioner Waiton.
Thank you, Chair. Yeah, Rep. So you see in private sector, we go and get bids. If there's what I've noticed in this job, if it's got the government name behind it, you can expect bid prices to come back, 50 to 100% higher sometimes on work because it has the government price tag or the government name behind it, which is quite frustrating to see. But with this project, Shady Hills, Commissioner Mariano probably talk about it further, but Shady Hills has become such a hot market. Like it kind of went from nothing to something in the last couple of years. And it's the place where industry and folks are really wanting to move and be there. And as government, we're not able to pivot as quick as private sector, but this is an area that I think we all recognize that has growth challenges, and the schools went from being empty to now they're filling up, and now, the schools will be back into action. And so this effort for this project is to try to move government quicker and not 10 years to pivot with the market that's changed in that area. And it's really going to become a successful place for jobs and people to live and traveling in our county. And so this is something that we kind of, I guess the board, we sprang it on county staff really overnight almost, basically, right? So thank you guys for moving on it, but just some context there.
Madam Chair?
Yep.
So with the growth of Hernando County, as you know, we've been trying to work on County Line Road, which you guys have been very helpful with as well, as trying to get that funded. So it looks like it's moving, which is great. But just like Bellamy Brothers Road, Shady Hills Roads, that north-south road, they're all using it. When we had done our comprehensive plan many years ago, we took Shady Hills Road and we went up to a certain area to close to Corella Drive near Cruise Lake to try to bring jobs into that area. Very, very job depressed, et cetera, very low income area. So everything down to the south, going from all the way up, is where we created jobs. We had Gary's Plastics come in, created 500 jobs. Their supplier Hild come in with another few hundred jobs, and more are coming. That whole area is developing the way we wanted to. We took 300 acres of residential properties and turned it into industrial, changed the comprehensive plan, which is like unheard of nowadays. But we're trying to create the jobs in the area, but the infrastructure down below is not going to be there for a bit. The sidewalks we're looking at are all going to the north. That's where the residents come in, for, let's say, from where this area is here, going to the north. We had a developer recently work with us on a project where it was going to be like $900,000, take us 2 years to get it done, so next year's school, it would have been done. We got the developer to do it for $200,000 less, and he got it done in 4 months. That was working with us, the team, and getting it done. So saving dollars and speeding up time. But this project here, it doesn't look like there's a match there, but I'm telling you, from Pulte Homes that come in with a big residential community, we had them take the sidewalk all the way up to Mary Giella Elementary and match it up there. The next developer came in, he took it up to Cruise Lake from there. Now we're taking it all the way up from Bosley. This is just gonna help us go through it. So it may not look like a match, but we put a lot of money into it, and we're gonna continue to put more money into it to get this done. Because when Shady Hills Road is gonna get expanded, one of the things we're working, Turnpike Authority is gonna work with us. There's an interchange we're gonna try to do at like Hudson Avenue, so it'll be about 2 miles up, which will be another reliever off 52 to try to free up the traffic, and they're studying that right now. Justin has made that happen. Hopefully we'll have that conversation again to make that happen, but that's something they looked at when we realign that road. That should help with more traffic and more jobs as well.
Chair?
Yes.
Why couldn't we, why wouldn't we able to be used the penny as a match? To help, if it helped, that's what we've done with other projects. I mean,
This was not part of the penny for Pasco resolution. I believe-
sidewalks aren't part of the penny?
No, they are.
We have
list.
a priority list.
We have a
that-
list.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was voter approved, and then once we get down that list, we'll have flexibility for the board to come back in and set new priorities.
So we don't have any flexibility to, with the penny list to move with the market.
But there are other sidewalks on
What we have done is we have made that list very short. In years past, we had a very long list, which handcuffed us to do exactly what you're saying, which is why we cut that list to something that we could probably responsibly knock out in about 5 to 7 years, and then be able to add new priorities to that list at that point in time.
I kind of agree with Commissioner Mariano, though, to say that there's no match. This is kind of an incomplete picture of what's happening on that road, because we've been putting pieces of that sidewalk in through development and us working with developers, because they can do it cheaper.
I like that idea, but
Yeah.
I'm also not about just putting our kids in harm's way. So I don't want it to come across that it's about dollars and cents to me. It's not just that.
Do it efficiently.
Yeah, do it efficiently, right. How is the bidding process done for these kind of scenarios? And is it DOT that comes in and does the work ultimately, or is it a private sector concrete?
Yeah, we follow
Contractor.
our purchasing rules, which we send out a solicitation invitation for bid, set of engineered plans and specifications that all contractors get, and then they do their calculations on their bid sheets, and whoever the lowest bidder is, we will typically recommend to the board to make an award.
However, if there's some way you want to dig into that and help us,
I already have.
Yeah,
So I just texted like 3 people I know in construction.
I'm going to give you an example. I wanted to put some slow speed. What do you call those poles in the water? You know, the signs in the water.
Yeah.
I had someone working on my dock in Gulf Harbors. They said that company said we could put those in for like $1,000 a pole or $600. But Keith Wiley's here. We have to bid it out. and the cost goes up to like $4,000 a pole. It's how much? 10,000 a pole, when the private sector, without a bid, could do it for so much less. So if there's a way you can fix that.
Have that person come in and bid it out at $1,000 a pole. I mean, invite them into the process. See, that's where I get baffled by this.
Yeah.
I'm in the private sector quite more than I am in the public sector. This is my first run in office, and I am perplexed with the amount of no common sense that's used inside the business world. I mean, inside this world, the political world, and I'm not talking about these folks because this is not an outlandish ask. I mean, I think I ran the sidewalk bill my freshman year and got it approved. So I'm all about doing the right thing for the community. And it's just, there's a lot of people in our community that actually do this work.
Yeah.
And why not open it up to local bids first? With the mindset that you get one shot at this, and if you want it, take your best shot. And if you don't, we'll go out. We'll go outside the community.
I love to hear you say that because this board has actually passed what we call a local preference portion of our purchasing code. Whereas if you're a local bidder and you're within 10%, I think, of the low bid, we'll say to you, representative, if your company is going to do this, if you can match the bid, the work is yours and it'll go to local folks. So I think the board is really focused on the procurement process of government procurement is an interesting animal. There are a lot of rules. There are a lot of rules that ensure accountability, that come sometimes at the price of efficiency. But nevertheless, we do our due diligence. I can assure you of that when we seek that, and we can't force people to bid if they don't want to bid. We do reach out, and our purchasing department can. I certainly love if you want to have a conversation with our purchasing director on what's going on, and probably members of our attorney's office. It would be welcome.
And I just want to say we do encourage local people because we want the money to stay in Pasco County. Yeah. So, yeah.
And just to encourage you a little bit further, when we do projects through FDOT for sidewalks, et cetera, when you do those, you have to follow the Davis-Bacon rules.
Oh, let me talk to you about that.
The paperwork is like is staggering. The all extra cost, it can double the cost of a sidewalk or a road project. If you want to really take a look, talk about federals, if they change that rule, and there was talk about that in NACO this year.
Yeah, it's my committee.
It didn't take her committee heard it, but my committee with transportation and the traffic engineers, they wanted to see it happen, but they said, we'll see how that committee goes. Her committee went, and they just shut it down.
They shut it down, my lids. Yes.
So your libs, is that what you just said?
Yeah.
I'm not going to say what I was going to say to that.
I tried to keep it soft too.
Well, help me then, because I don't have any room in bills, but I will make room. Is there some law that we can change?
Yeah, let's have a conversation.
Yeah, no, like I said about earlier on about the bureaucracy of leadership and management, and all the stuff in line. Why not change that so that we can fix the bureaucracy and get better pricing?
So on that, I have one question. Okay, but let me ask this question. Maybe you're going to have the same question. If developers can do it cheaper for us, but we have to get the money for it, how can we marry the two in this appropriation ask?
Well, I don't know about this particular appropriation ask. I can tell you that we've currently adopted a stance in the past couple of years where we are looking to have developers construct our infrastructure. Now, there are rules that we have to follow, right? We cannot just extract land. We cannot extract things that we don't without paying fair value for. But through use of impact fee credits and things like that, we are trying to accelerate and advance getting infrastructure put in that normally a developer may not have been required to, and then also ensuring that they are putting in things. So I would have to look at this to see if there's an angle that we can explore, and I certainly will take that back prior to we bringing this to you.
It's going to be Representative Maggard, then Jack, then Seth. Yes.
Thank you. Question for you. You mentioned you're going to widen this road anyway. Is this, I mean, we don't want to pay for a sidewalk and then you're going to tear it up because you're widening the road. So how are those correlating?
That's a very good point. We will look at ways to widen the road in a way to avoid the existing infrastructure. Now, how we can do that, it will be also a factor where we can minimize impact on local properties, on environmental lands. So, but our effort will be to maximize the use of the existing infrastructure.
Yeah, we won't tear it up.
And and a couple of comments I wanted to say, and Representative Steele's aware of all of this. You know, we started a couple of years ago looking at our processes. I was on TED Approach last year. And, you know, part of our job was to go in the Department of Transportation and say, hey, man, 20 years to build a road's crazy. Cost amount of money it costs to build a road's crazy. And we're looking at different ways, thinking outside the box, how we're going to do this. We had an opportunity when we were in Washington, D.C. last week to talk to Secretary of Transportation about the same thing on the Fed side. We understand what you're wanting to do, but what it takes for us to do that, and lawyers in the world can't figure it out. And they're very aware, and they're wanting to make a change, and I don't know if you want to call it deregulation or whatever you want to call it, but they're trying to figure out how to cut that, what we've got ourselves into. You know, the problem is that we see, you know, especially I can speak for the state, none of us want the $500 hammer come out. And so, oh my gosh, the state paid for $500 hammers for this project, and it somehow got past us, and everybody's scared to death of that. So we put all these processes in and tie our hands, try to do a bid, and the only thing we did was add cost and add time to it. And, you know, the way our state's growing, every day we wait to do something, the dollar amount goes up. So, which makes it hard on bidding. You know, you want us to bid for a road or do an interchange, time it gets there, that money's not even relevant.
We saw that on the Ridge Road
So, you know,
interchange.
We have started looking at that because we have to. I mean, roads is, when it's not insurance, my number 2 calls is roads. You know, and Pasco has been blessed that we've a lot of construction going on. The bad part of this is a lot of construction going on. There are some counties who don't have anything going on.
Yeah.
So one day when this gets through, we'll have some nice roads. I mean, 52, that's really nice driving that way and things. But we took our time in Washington to talk about these processes. Not, oh, how can we get all this money? How can we cut all the red tape to get a project done quicker? You know, we saw what we could do during the hurricane when we put our mind to it and said, okay, we're going to stop all of this. We need to build this bridge today. We build a bridge in 4 months. Okay, so it can be done, right? Now, how can we take the layers off all the way down the line, protect the citizens and their money, but to get a project done quicker? So on that note, what Kevin Steele, Representative Steele was talking about, we've been looking at this. We had our opportunity, and I think, you know, timing's everything in our world. It seems like right now there are some times lined up to make some of these changes. So, you know, my recommendation to the county, reach out to the transportation secretary and tell him the same thing. Let them hear it again that, you know, it takes too much to build a road. It takes too much to get a grant. How can we cut that to help speed this process up, which in turn brings down the costs?
Yeah. Can you briefly say how we got the money to do 4 lanes of 56? I know there was a special state. It was a special state. You were an administrator there.
I was.
Yeah,
we were.
I mean, I know it was
Robert
partially,
Thomas got that
it was
done.
an agglomeration of property owners who kind of fronted that, went through and converted to a loan. Jeff, do you recall the exact
some
details?
kind of state program.
Well,
Jonathan?
Then Representative Burgess was working with the county on this one. What we did was, it was a combination. I know the county, the city of Zephyr Hills, and the landowners got together, and there was a state infrastructure bank loan, like a SIB loan from the Department of Transportation. Because originally it was going to be 2 lanes, and we went to the people in Tallahassee and said, the moment you do 2 lanes, it's going to be too crowded, and we're going to have to come back and do it again. So we, through the Department of the FDOT, we worked with the county, with the developers, landowners, and with the city of Zephyr Hills, who I think took 10%.
10%, yeah.
10% of the loan. And together we were able to get that through for the 4-lane expansion.
And imagine if we were building those other 2 lanes today.
That was the original appropriation from Speaker Weather for the time.
Yes.
Right.
We took it, and Representative Burgess took that over when he took over.
So just,
yes,
initially,
sorry.
that road was going to be a 4-lane. It got switched to a 2-lane. That's the start of the whole dialogue to make it happen. And so working with the state and the county and the private sector made all that happen to make the right thing happen for the project, to do it in one shot. So.
Okay, you wanted to bring up something? We gotta
Yes,
move
so-
a little
Yeah, we
faster
gotta-
though, guys. I'm
All
gonna
right. Well,
push you along a little bit.
This is like huge, so I'm glad you're talking, like Davis Bacon is a big thing for those costs, et cetera,
Yeah.
paperwork. Drives up the cost of a bid, et cetera, dramatically, and then trying to monitor it all the way through. Years ago, and maybe you guys know this, maybe not, and maybe it's changed. I remember years ago, they made it a certain point where if you were gonna go spend money as a county, and the threshold might have been $1 million, $2 million, $3 million, whatever the number was, that you had to go put it out for bid, you couldn't just do it internally. I will tell you that we can do sidewalk projects and have done them in our county, and we can do them a lot cheaper than going out to the bid, et cetera. This could have been one of those things, but I don't know if we're limited because of the scope of the project to actually go do it. I don't know if you know that rule is in place.
Yeah.
It's a good thing. Write that down. Let's,
Yeah. Work on
because
that
maybe,
one.
you know, it's sort of like we're looking at DOT raising the threshold of certain vendors being able to build roads up to a higher dollar amount now, instead of having the same guy. You know, it's cheaper to have a smaller guy do a $5 million and down project than it is bringing, you know, one of these big guys, and they source it out anyway. So we're gonna be raising that tab up. So maybe it's the same thing. We need to take a look at that, what they can spend and raise that money up, that we don't have to go out, that you can do it yourself. So
Madam
that's
Chair,
what-
because I was gonna give you the statute too, if you want it.
Oh, you got it?
Yeah, so for general public bidding, I know you were interested in this as well. It's Florida Statute Chapter 287. If you're looking at construction bids and public work bids, that's gonna be Chapter 255.
Nice.
So those are the two chapters you'll need to
Representative
dig
Steele,
into.
and then Representative Waitman.
Yeah, and I apologize. We're coming in here with some knowledge that probably wasn't in the public eye. You know, meeting with the Trump team, every secretary basically came forward and had long dialogue with us about what they want to do. And it is about cutting the red tape. So we can actually reach out to that secretary and probably get them to overlook this just for this project. I mean, there's that kind of anyway, but just to give you a quote, this is from a person who does concrete. He did the quarter-mile race that's over there off of, what's the road? Anyways, right down the street. It would be 10%, less than 10% of the budget that you're asking for. Just
You wanna talk about it?
so you know.
Okay. Commissioner Waitman.
Just,
At 3,000 PSI, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah.
so, if y'all take a look at this, sheriff's departments don't follow the procurement rules that
Yeah.
counties have to. And the state allows that, so their procurements are streamlined. It doesn't take near the process. They don't have to use the clerk to manage their monies. So maybe if there's a way for certain types of projects, say, you know, infrastructure projects, if the state would be willing to amend the language to allow streamlining of roads and stormwater infrastructure and those kind of, the parameters around that work.
Critical infrastructure
Yeah.
projects.
That would be wonderful, because the sheriffs, they just get it done.
Yeah.
And it's
Well,
like.
that's easy to do
Yeah.
if you put language in there, like it has to be marketable rates. That way, if it's excessive, then you have some target to go back after. Somebody's
Well,
giving
we
it to a
would
buddy.
love it.
Yeah, let's
Obviously,
work
for
on
our
it.
citizens.
We spent this much time on $3 million. I don't know what we're gonna do.
I do. Thank you very much.
Broader concept.
Next time, I suggest you have a map to put it in better context for those who don't know what's going on. Okay, people go fast, okay, Joanna?
Okay.
Come on
next-
up, whoever's next.
Yeah, come on up, Mike. Next, we have the Pasco County Veterinary Resource Center to meet our growing demands. Tell us a little bit more about it.
All right, good morning. My name is Mike Shoemate. I'm the Director of Animal Services. And this project is to build the Veterinary Resource Center. Our shelter that we're currently operating out of was built in 2011. It was prior to us taking on any additional mandates by the county, such as our Save 90 program, which means we would become a no-kill shelter. Previously, we were a high-kill shelter. We didn't invest a lot in veterinary operations. Our primary veterinary operation was to spay and neuter, get them out the door alive, if at all possible. Since we've been a no-kill shelter, we found a lot of new ways to operate, save money, partner with the community, do a lot of different things. But the core of all of that, to operate under those situations, is to have a very robust medical department. And we have invested through the county heavily into our medical team. We used to have 1 vet, 2 vet techs. We now have 2 full-time vets and 7 vet techs. And we produced quite a few surgeries for the public already through some programs. But this is primarily a veterinary clinic, low cost for the public. What we have found time and time again through different surveys is that some of the greatest needs of pet owners in Pasco County is affordable vet care. And we ventured into that just a little bit a few years back, where we opened a vaccine clinic 1 day a week for 4 hours. It ran phenomenally. We booked it out months in advance, and so we decided, let's open a second day. So we did, and that revenue that we bring in has helped our budget, of course, but we've also seen thousands of pets and been able to provide their basic veterinary care, such as vaccinations and things like that. So this is what we're looking to build to add on to our facility. And then also, it's actually a 2-story building. The upper part would be for administration. Our current administration building is very small.
Yeah, it is.
We've pretty much remodeled some closets to make some more office space and pack people in there. When I first got here 12 years ago, we had a staff of 32. We have a staff of 57 now. So we need some more space for that as well.
Madam Chair? I
Yes.
think, Representative Steele has his hand up.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. So are you open to all who want to come?
Yes.
I'm going to keep it very brief. I'm not typically vocal about this, but I think private sector, I mean, you're competing with local veterinarians, right?
Not necessarily. Dr. Carlos Campos, who used to be on our advisory committee, when we first were going to open the vaccine clinic, we brought that up. And he says, well, I don't think you're going to have to worry about that because your clients are not our clients. And basically, they know that they have a good, strong client base. We're not offering anything other than preventive veterinary care. In other words, vaccinations and then sterilizations, of course. We will venture into that for the public. Because one thing we've seen is the great need in our county for that. When we went out with our senior services group for the Meals on Wheels, and we took a survey with those people, they could barely even afford the food for their pets, much less the veterinary care. And as we went through the 2 hurricanes recently, and we packed out the shelters with animals, the health conditions of those animals was very poor. So much so that we had to go in and vaccinate some of them to even keep them there for the long period of time that we did after the hurricanes.
Is this the same project that you all asked for last year? as
Yes, we've been, actually, we've been trying to do this project for a long time. Yes.
What's your, and not this, but what's your total budgetary line item for the state or the county?
For the county?
Or both?
For the total project, you mean?
Yeah, no, not for this project. I mean, like annually, what are your costs?
We're right at about $6 million now.
6 million?
Okay. I'm going to try and keep us moving. Any more questions on this one? All right. And you are welcome to tour. Actually, it's down the street.
Yes, yes.
And you can see what our situation is there. All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, next, Sea Pine Septic to Sewer Project.
All right. I'm Joseph Amua, Utilities Director. So Sea Pines Septic to Sewer Conversion is one of many projects that we planned for the area. As you all know, The priority is the priority of the state that reduce environmental degradation caused by algae bloom and nutrients loading to our groundwater. We all depend on groundwater for our water supply, but a lot of pathogenic infection of our water resources is going to affect our primary source of drinking water. So this project is one of many the septic to sewer projects we planned. We identified this project as one of the feasible ones because it's very close to our central, Pasco County Central sewer system, where we can easily make the connection. It's going to remove about 229 parcels within the Sea Pines area. It's going to benefit from this project and also reduce a nutrient loading of over 1,000 pounds per year. This project is going to be, we're bringing this forward at this time because there's a stormwater capital improvement project for the Sea Pines area. And we want to make sure we move this along with that project so that it will mutually benefit both, because we don't want to go back and redig the places again. We're asking for 6.5 million. The total project cost is 9 million. There's about 2.5 million that is going to be borne by homeowners for the service connections, on-site plumbing, and pretty much to abandon their septic system. But of course, if we can get the entire million, we'll be glad.
Question.
Yes.
How many homes are you?
229 homes.
229?
Yes.
On the coast, yeah.
Madam Chair.
You don't want any septic on the coast. Not a good plan, Commissioner.
So this is an area for 20-plus years. Every time there's a storm, I kind of start to stop my county, work down the coast. First place I'd always go to. The sea level is about 5 feet, goes down to 3 feet before it drains out to the Gulf in this whole Sea Pines area. We're on the last phase right now. I think we're almost at 100% design for the final phase, which will be an ask for stormwater stuff. We've hesitated putting the septic or sewer in because if it goes underwater, it's not going to work anyway. So we haven't done it. We haven't done the roads in there, which is going to be another thing that we do later on with this project as well. So between stormwater, septic to sewer, and this road project to come, it's going to change this whole neighborhood where the water's going to flow. It's going to protect the Gulf of Mexico, or Gulf of America. And you're going to be able to take water as it's going to be treated before it gets released all the way through. It's the last part of a big project that's been going on for a long time. And again, there'll be an ask coming up, just like we did last year for the stormwater part, but that's coming right behind it. And we've already bought the land we needed. We've got developers to coordinate with us, to help us, and all the easements and cooperation with the Civic Association have been done. So there's like the final part is this part right here.
Quick question. You'd indicated a couple of different things besides this project. How much are those other projects?
The stormwater project, I think, is a total of 29 million. We need about 22. The road project, I'm not sure what that is, but we're gonna take care of that after we do the septic and sewer, because you don't want to tear up the road and put the road in before that's done.
You have a ballpark on what that looks like?
Branford may know what the road is. Well, Jason? They're asking about how much.
It's going to be 30 million project.
30 million?
So let's talk to the stormwater, so we'll get that out of the way too.
Yeah.
So let's talk.
You want to
let's
jump
go-
into stormwater?
Well, yes, yeah, let's go to the stormwater, and then we'll talk about doing the road as well after these things are done.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Jason Mickle. I'm the Public Works Director. Thank you for putting this together today and allowing Public Works to be here. If I could, Commissioner, I just, part of what I wanted to bring up to this committee today was we just finished a stormwater master plan. The board was instrumental in helping us get that through. I see chairman's looking at me like to speed it up. I know, but I just want to make a couple of quick points. Our stormwater master plan has just been adopted by the board. In that, we've identified 142 projects that need to get done throughout the county at a price tag of about $2.8 billion. It also listed 15 top priority projects that we ranked. Our staff ranked along with our third-party consultant. And of those 15 projects, it's about $88 million worth of need. Any of the stormwater projects that you see today will all be on that 15 project list. We have about a $4 to $5 million annual budget for our capital program. So you can see the need that we have for our projects. So the projects that we bring to you today, the Sea Pines project is actually 3 projects that will be done in sequence. We have Sea Pines, what we call the feet, and what we call Sea Pines local. Each one of those addresses the Sea Pines area. It's going to take up to about 80 houses out of the floodplain and several thousand feet of road out of the floodplain. When I talk about that, it's the 10-year. So we all know now we're seeing these 10-year storms happen every year, right? So this is a very dense area, a somewhat low to middle income area, and also an area that was built before permitting. So there's lots of obstacles that they face there, and flooding is just one of them. So this will take some of the roads out of the floodplain, take some of the houses out of the floodplain, and give the folks up there some relief. That's Sea Pines.
Madam Chair?
Yep.
One of the things when Senator Simpson, Commissioner Simpson now, was in office with Representative Mariano, they worked and they talked together about getting every single home out of the floodplain. It's been a long time getting through that point, but it's all part of this whole process.
And we've been buying land and gearing up for this project for
All
quite a
ready to
while.
go.
Randy and I both served on the Swift Mud Basin boards back in the day. Back in the day when we had no stormwater fee, and we watched our Swift Mud money being used to fund stormwater projects in other counties, and it was the most frustrating thing to me. But we didn't have our 50% match, so we didn't. You were with Swift Mud at the time. I don't know if you remember Jason from Swift Mud, Randy. Yeah, I do. So yeah, we've got a backlog of stormwater projects in this county that we've got to work our way through.
And Chairman, just so you know, Joseph and I are working closely together on these projects. So Randy Magrid mentioned earlier, smartly, he doesn't want us going in and doing a project and going back and fixing sidewalks after we've already gone in and already implemented them. So we're working together on these to make sure that we're being as efficient as possible.
Yeah, we hate seeing that. Okay, any more questions for this one?
Just the road. We're going to get to the road cost or no? Is that not in this?
Do you know what the road cost is going to be? The road's going to be done, but I don't know if is the road cost in this project or is it after the fact?
It's after. Yeah, I don't have those numbers with me now. We're here mainly to talk about stormwater, but I could certainly get any road costs that you would like.
I saw somebody raise their hand. Was it 30 million? You can just nod. Yeah, okay. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm just going to point out some things. You said it was 229 homes. I went out and just did a quick, and this is quick math. I just grabbed like 10 homes that were for sale. And if we gave them full asking price, on the average price, it's less than buying every home there. It's like $32 million to buy them all and make it a park.
Can I say I have tried that on Elfers Parkway? I even got special federal money because this Elfers Parkway they're literally in the Anclote River. We got a federal grant that would let them, we'd buy out their house, 25% down payment help or something, moving costs, and we got like 4 people who were willing to sell their house. We cannot foreclose.
It's not foreclosure.
I know, but I've been
You
against.
have to condemn them or find a willing seller.
We're not allowed to condemn them either.
Right.
We have these rules that we have to follow. So they have to voluntarily want to sell, and they probably won't because they're living on the water and they won't be able to replace that.
There's like half
Right?
of them for sale right now. I don't. Anyways, you can do it over time.
I would buy all that we
Yeah,
could.
it seems like it would save half. I mean, it's half the price to buy them all. But anyways, I'm just
I wish we
trying
could condemn.
Well, I don't want to. So that's a dictatorship, and I'm not a dictator. I think that we sit down and work with people and tell them the problem that it's causing.
Well, they know it.
Hey,
They
their
live it.
taxes are going to go up when we do this, and it's going to go up to, instead of paying $3,000 a year in taxes, you're going to pay $10,000 because that should not be spread across the county. Those costs should be spread across that area and no other area. And if you do that, they're going to realize they can't afford to live there anyways after you fix it. So you either work with the people up front and let them know their taxes are going to go through the roof, which is realistic. I shouldn't pay when I live in Dade City for their issue on the water. And so
I'm not sure we can do it like that unless we did a MSTU for just that area.
BU.
MSBU.
Yeah.
There's a lot of hoops we have to go through legally.
I mean, why?
What'd you say?
So
You'd have to do it as a special
assessment.
Right, and I'm not trying to be leveraging people, but at the end of the day, I should not be paying, because I live in Pasco County, for somebody who wants to live on a water and has septic leakage and it's ruining our aquifer and our waterways.
I agree.
I passed a bill to have this process go through, and we put funding into those ecosystems to fix them. And so I have no problem doing that, but people should pay their fair share where they live.
Yeah, so I wanted to clarify, I'm not sure what figures you're using, but the 229, the total project is 9 million. So that will put it at about 39,000.
But then the road and the water flow and everything else that we talked about, that was 29 million plus 30 million for the roadway, and then 9 million for your project.
So stormwater, I believe, have some funding, right?
Joseph,
I don't want to go down rabbit holes. I'm just throwing out thoughts.
Can I just to clarify, I just want to say that the project that you would hear in a few minutes on stormwater is more of a stormwater project than a road paving project. That project is, and I fully appreciate what you're saying. The project does have a lot of water quality benefits as well. For any of the water leaving that site, heading into the Gulf, there would be some water quality benefits there, but it's mainly a stormwater project for 3 fairly large neighborhoods.
okay, so we'll keep moving?
Sorry.
Thank you, yeah. Okay, Beacon Square flood abatement. Oh, this is flood. Who's on this one?
Don't go far,
Come on
Jason.
back.
All right, I know the order. All right, so again, just real quick, Jason Mickle, Public Works Director. This project is part of those 15 that I mentioned. We have 3 projects here today, I believe, that you'll be seeing and considering. This one, again, densely packed neighborhood, low to moderate income families. These are areas that were built prior to any permitting. So, the stormwater systems in them don't necessarily perform like they should, given a new stormwater system that would be a post-permitting project. So these are areas that see a lot of flooding. As I mentioned, we have about $2.8 billion worth of projects throughout the county that we need to address. The 3 that we brought to you today as part of this process are 3 that are on the west side that are currently have either no funding or only minimal funding for an early phase of them. And we feel that being on our top 15 list, these are 3 projects that we wanted to bring to your consideration. This one in particular has conveyance improvements, has roadway improvements to get the road out of the floodplain, and then also has water quality benefits. There's some lowering of the stormwater pond that'll allow some attenuation for longer periods of time for the water to let some of the pollutants attenuate, and then also some of the swales will also give it some more time to attenuate. So that all discharges off to the Gulf into waters of the state. So we think we can help flood improvements here, and then also water quality improvements with this.
And
project.
if you are one of those people like, I was going to say Commissioner Moore. Once a commissioner, always a commissioner. Commissioner Moore, where he likes to fish, this is the water that goes to where that big fishing hole is,
Yep.
right there across from where my house is, into the
Oh,
bayou right there.
Yes, I
It
know
comes
exactly.
right down that creek
Okay.
by Eagle Park, and
Yep.
that's what's contaminating all that.
And we know that high quality fresh water
those weeds.
leading to brackish water helps with fisheries.
Yeah.
Yes.
Not to this. I want to first apologize. I was not calling you a dictator, Commissioner Starkey. So if it came
I don't
across that
mind.
way, I did not
There
mean
are
it that
some
way.
things I wish I could.
I want
just like
to
Trump,
clear
there's
the
some
record
things
on
I
that.
wish I could get through.
I want to clear the record, but go ahead. Sorry, that was it.
No, but, there's people choose to live in places where they shouldn't. And then we all pay the price for it. Because they have that option to stay. And then our first responders have to go in and save them when they shouldn't be there.
Put them in harm's way. Yeah.
Okay. Sure. Any more questions on this one?
I was just gonna recommend Whitey's, go ahead and do the other 2.
Yeah, let's do it.
Because this is in no order, so.
Yeah,
You might as
yeah,
well go ahead, or I can just see you keep running.
Thank you, Mr. Macker. Appreciate that. That's good
What's
because
the,
it
what's the
fits my
next
broader
one?
narrative. You should have Double Hammock North in your list somewhere. I'm not sure if it made it to your presentation or not.
No, it probably didn't because
No.
there were again, as Joanna mentioned, that matrix, if they weren't geared up or we had other means that we felt we could fund them or they were outside of the sweet spot of
Okay.
where we thought appropriations would be.
Okay.
So I think this is your last one
That's it.
for Public Works, Jason.
Got it, sir.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
All right, thanks.
All right, Joanna.
Get you with this.
is vacated.
Oh, and Judge Crane is here. Who's speaking on this?
Sure. Well, actually, I will start. I could have Chief Judge talk a little bit about it, but this was brought up. There are a number of security issues, as we know, at the East Pasco Judicial Center, as well as a need for facility upgrades, and so those come with a higher price tag. I think, and I don't want to put any words in Judge Crane's mouth, but I know there are just some concerns perhaps over the timing of how this can be, because this board has looked favorably upon potentially going to the public to seek general obligation bonds to construct an expanded criminal courthouse facility, and so. There's some timing issues that come with that, but we know that today, I know this board has seen security issues, takes that very seriously with the judges. Of course, if we built a central courthouse, it may negate some of the need for those. I think that's what Judge Crane wants to speak about. Nevertheless, we won't know that until October or November of next year as well. So this project would simply fix the security issues, but also provide some expansion as well as some renovations if this facility were to become a civil courthouse in the future and move away from criminal. So, Judge Crane,
No, I appreciate it. Thanks so much. Sean Crane, Chief Judge of the 6th Judicial Circuit. I want to thank you all for your time and for being here. Being a lawyer, I'll just try to make this as quick as I can, Madam Chairperson. I want to thank you all and specifically Commissioner Yeager for recognizing the security and the importance of security for judges. We have, and this is kind of a precursor to what I think they're going to hear in Tallahassee a little bit about this as well. The threats against judges have increased significantly over the past few years, and I mean direct threats where people are showing up at judges' houses and things like that, and they're doxing them. They're sending $350 worth of pizzas to their house in the name of Judge Salas. Judge Salas is a judge from New Jersey whose son answered the door for what he thought was a FedEx delivery man, was shot dead on her doorstep. Her husband then came to his aid, was shot as well, but survived. And they're sending around all these pizza orders, for instance, just to the personal homes of judges, just to let them know they know where you live. And by the way, we're sending it in the name of the dead son. So these people are, we've had judges literally have somebody show up on their front porch after they made a ruling. I can speak of that case because that person is now in state prison who did that in an effort to do harm to that judge who at this point in time is single, and she was in great fear, obviously, of her well-being when the person showed up on her front porch. Fortunately, she was at a bar event, and we were able to take care of that situation. I can tell you that it's of such importance that they put me at the end of the judicial conference this year, the last spot before everybody went home, which we all know is the great spot to have. And the room was packed with circuit judges from around the state and a Supreme Court justice that wanted to hear about security. And I had the good fortune to be asked to lecture about that to those judges and the importance of that. I can tell you Pasco County and Pinellas County ought to be very proud because we are the gold standard for security as far as elected officials, including judges, because we have what are known as threat management teams here within our circuit. And Sheriff Nacco needs to be certainly praised for that. In other words, if there is a direct threat directed at it, as you all probably already know, at an elected official or including judges, they will respond to that direct threat. And that is very, very important. Threats inside the courthouse as well. I mean, some of the events that have occurred within the courthouse, some of which I cannot speak of because they are still pending criminal matters, but be that it may, I can tell you that there are many. I don't know if I should say many. I just got a text this morning from Captain Rock with the Pasco County Sheriff's Department about some incident that occurred yesterday over in Dade City. It is a growing problem. When I asked about a month ago, Captain Rock, how many threats they've investigated against the judges, the number was, if memory serves, either 26 or 29 threats that were credible enough for them to investigate. And these are direct threats. We know where you live. We know where you work. We know where your wife works. We know where your kids go to school. And you know what? They're right about all of it. And that is a scary thing when they can say, I know your kid goes to this school. I know when they go. I know they walk there. I know this. I know that. I mean, it is, it can be a thing that certainly rattles our folks to the core. So increasing our security certainly in East Pasco is a good thing. I think the timing, and this is going to come as a surprise to all of you that I'm normally like, let's go, 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 go. We may want to just take a step back. And the reason I say that is literally when I leave here, I will meet with a design team to build a courthouse, including security issues in Pinellas County. So I am going to
They just
learn.
built one.
I'm sorry?
Didn't they just get one recently?
Yeah,
Another?
we're fixing to build a brand new civil courthouse down there, civil and civil and family courthouse down there at that new government complex compound right there on Almerton Road. And so I'm fixing to learn a lot about this stuff. And I may be able to bring some pretty good value to you all because you're going to get it for free. And like I said, literally I meet with these folks at 10 o'clock, the design people, HOK, the design people, we're going to design that courthouse today at 1 o'clock at the courthouse to walk through and talk about security and what security is kind of offered, now as we move forward, what are the things that we offer for that? And let me give you for instance, and when some of the presentations were made, all of the lights in the new courthouses and the new buildings are all LED. Well, if there's an active shooter, they can hit a button and it'll turn all the lights a certain color so everybody knows, you need to take this certain action because there's an active shooter in the building. And you don't need to make phone calls. It'll shut down all of the elevators. I mean, all these sorts of things that'll do. If there's a fire, all the lights turn red. You know what you have to do because there's a fire. I mean, little things like that. But I guess my point is I'm able to bring some real value to this in the future as far as how that money should be spent and how it could be best spent, especially in light of the fact that we may be hopefully building that central complex, that central courthouse right here, literally right here.
Judge Crane, if I could ask you a question,
Sure.
just getting back to what this says here. If I'm not mistaken, you've come to us and told us that the judges and the prosecutors mix with the defendants because of the setup of our courthouse.
Correct.
They're all together, which is not safe.
We're absolutely correct.
Yes.
Absolutely, that is absolutely true. And as I said, we've had judges literally turn out of their offices and run right into somebody who's on trial for first-degree murder.
So part of this, this would help fix those safety
This would help
concerns.
fix that, but the difference is where I may be also of good value to you all is what we do in a family civil courthouse may be a bit different than what we do in a criminal courthouse, just because of flow of inmates, for instance, and that sort of thing. Things we don't need to worry about in a civil family courthouse, but I may still be able to bring, like I said, some of that. And if you don't think I'm going to be asking some questions about a criminal courthouse, you'd be way wrong to try to pick some brain for free.
But this is for the courthouse in Dade City.
This is for Dade City only, yes.
Any
That's my
questions for the
understanding.
judge? Okay, Jonathan?
Yes.
Thank you, Your Honor. You mentioned are your judges not protected by the public records exemption laws?
That is a great question. As a matter of fact, I'm in the process of presenting that to the new Supreme Court Security Committee, and I've been on the phone with Lance Day, who's the chief judge up on the 4th, who's chairing that. There is a difference between Rule 2.420, Florida Rule of Judicial Administration, and 119. And what I mean by that is they are not necessarily consistent. If you ask the clerk, if I get sued right now, which unfortunately as chief judge happens, even though I don't know anything about the case, but I'm the chief, what happens is I have to make a special request. They don't automatically take my information out if somebody puts my home address on there. That's not automatically excluded. It should be, but it's not, because what the clerks will tell you, and this is both in Pinellas and Pasco, because I've checked, we go under Rule 2.420, not 119 for that. Now, 119 generally, but then specifically, if there's a situation that comes up where the judge is listed, the judge needs to specifically ask for their name to be removed from the public record on that, which seems to me to be absolutely inconsistent. So we're going to be kind of working through that, and I've actually got a memorandum I'm going to submit to both the Security Committee and the Civil Rules Committee, to address that inconsistency.
So would the rule be, would it just be a rule change versus a legislative change?
It could almost be kind of both to some extent, but certainly it would be, I'm looking, the easiest route for me would be a rule change as opposed to a legislative change. And that being said, if I can get that through and then the clerks will recognize that, then we'll be good to go there.
Representative Maggard?
Thank you, Your Honor.
Are you good, Jonathan?
Yes.
Representative Maggard?
Well, thank you. I've been hearing about this courthouse since 2019, the day
Yep.
I was elected.
Well, it's been 24 years we've been talking about it.
Well, what bothers me about it is, I've been hearing the same thing with safety. It bothers me that since I've known about it, you can't solve, I understand we got to remodel, I understand all that, but you can't solve how inmates come into that courthouse that they don't have to mingle.
And they don't want.
It's hard for me to grasp, as many doors are in that building. You can't build a cage somewhere outside. You can't build a cage somewhere to temporarily solve that problem instead of us always got to build a building.
It's actually the flow. It's actually the flow through the courthouse.
Okay,
It's not
there's
where
got to
you-
be a way.
It's-
There's got to be a way. I've been hearing about it since 19, and I have nobody's ever brought me a proposal that said, you know, here's what we need to do to fix it now to solve somebody's life. Only thing I hear is we got to build a new building. That's all I ever hear. We got to build a new building. We got to build a new building. But you know what? We got people's lives in jeopardy. We can't find a way to put that money to solve that.
We've actually already been working on that. I think
We'll let
Andrew can
Andrew grab
address
the
that
mic,
to some
and then I
extent.
have, who did I have next? Representative Steele, and then
Andrew.
after that, Commissioner Yeager.
Thank you, sir. Andrew Baxter, Facilities Management Director for Pasco County. Pleasure to be here with you all. So, Representative Maggard, there are solutions, and that is part of what we're talking about here, that can be done to create basically man traps within the flow. And the Chief Judge was absolutely correct. It really is a flow issue within this building. When it was originally designed, there is only one corridor within the entire backside of the judicial side of the building that is a shared corridor between inmates and judges. This is not the typical design of a criminal courthouse in today's day and age. In a modern courthouse, there are 3 corridors, separate and distinct from one another: public, judicial, and criminal. And they never intermix with one another. And so that is a limitation of the design of this building that will hopefully be corrected by some of these safety improvements that we're talking about.
Frankly, civil also has some safety issues sometimes
Right,
too.
yeah,
I mean,
no question.
Yeah. Okay, Representative Steele.
Ladies first, go ahead.
Okay,
Thank
Commissioner
you,
Yeager.
Rep. Steele. So one of the reasons I kind of wanted to see if we could tackle this was because I believe, don't quote me on this, but it was like 232 million or something like that to build the new courthouse. And I had heard that it's on the budget every year, right? And to me, that's an elephant. So I'm like, how do you need an elephant? So one of the things I thought of was just making renovations to make this safer, right? And if we could do that, then it would buy us some time, you know, when you're talking about Pinellas and how they're gonna do things. That was my feeling on this. Let's keep the courthouse there. Let's help those small businesses in Dade City. You know, let's just make the improvements, make it safer. My brother was a prosecutor. The death threats are real, the jailhouse phone calls, the gangs, all of it. So I know just from a family standpoint what that looks like, and it's terrifying.
And
So-
we're very, very appreciative of that. And like I said, my whole thing is maybe just to buy a little bit of time on this. And and just so you know, the court improvement fund, we use that. We were told kind of by past boards to save that money to pay for the furnishings and everything if we do have the new courthouse. So the new courthouse also would be, obviously, because just of the growth we have in Pasco County is obviously significant. And it'll extend the life of the 2 side courthouses exponentially if we did have just one central, like we said, like they do in Pinellas, one central criminal complex. And it's like you all drove here today. It's not hard to get to the central part of the county if this is where we're going to have criminal trials and that sort of thing. We can get here. And once again, thank goodness for the Ridge Road extension for that.
Representative Steele.
Well, it's more of a statement than it is a question. I think we should change the law. Going to your point, I think it'd be probably faster than having some rule change. And then we can increase the penalties and fines for any threat, whether it's credible or not, for anybody that's in, I've gotten threats. So.
We had bomb
w-
threats.
w- Our address is not suppressed, and neither is anybody that's in
It
the
can be
house.
now, though.
Well,
Yeah, I gotta
yeah, but
fill
I
out
think it's a
that
little late. I'm not moving, so
Yeah.
the reality
Same.
is it's out there. So and I'm talking about at my gate. I've had people drive into my yard and knock on my door. So I live a quarter of a mile back on my own private driveway. It's not close to the road. So, anyways, I think
No, your point is perfect. I mean,
we can increase the fines. Make it a tangible fine and charge, so that they're not just walking around. They're in jail for what their threat was, and then they have time to think about the consequences of what they did. So, anyways.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we had a case that's been resolved. I was threatened, we were threatened here. I sent it to Hillsborough, the defendant then threatened to kill the judge and his wife. It was then sent up to Hernando, and eventually the case was resolved. But-
Charge them with terrorism.
All right.
Treason to the country.
Thank you. We're moving on. Thank you, Judge.
Thank you. And by the way, I'd love to meet with you on this and in any way offer any help I can as far as getting that taken care of.
100%.
I'm all about that. And the reality is, I'm glad you guys are added to that now as well.
Thank
So
you.
anything I can do. And I can answer any questions. I'd like to meet with you about the courthouse, any questions you may have with that, Representative Myers.
Been trying for 5 years.
Show it, give him a tour. Okay, we are on the East Pasco Emergency Shelter.
No problem. Thank you, Judge. Yep. So this is a facility that would be done in coordination with parks on the east side of the county that would serve not only as a recreation facility in coordination with Dade City with supplying some matching funds, but also serve as an emergency shelter to the east side of the county. This multi-use facility would also house some veterans programs and a few other county services. But really, this would provide something similar to what we currently know as the Fasano Regional Emergency Shelter, but for the east side of Pasco County, which did receive so many needed evacuees during these last storms, and it was really important that we bring this forward. And it can, by having it as a multi-purpose facility, it really brings a lot of functionality every day of the week, not just during a storm.
And what's great is it's a joint project between county and city. We already have the property. I know Keith Wiley's here. Representative Steele?
This is kind of like on task but off task. How many empty schools do we have in Pasco County that don't have kids going to?
We don't have any. We're growing.
There's
Well,
several.
they're renovating some, so they moved them to other schools.
Do we have anybody here from the school board?
I think there's 2 or 3 that are.
I was gonna say, I know Schwetman's
that are
empty.
not being used at
Oh,
all.
Well, Schwetman
City owns
was.
it.
Oh,
City
city
owns
owns
it.
it.
Yeah, Schwetman was sold. I can tell you, we've been working with the school district to try and use some capacity and some maybe not schools that were empty for a community or county daycare program, and they don't have any because
It just
we've been
seems like-
trying.
It seems
so-
like, that's a waste to not use it for something like this instead of selling it. If we're gonna put $40 million out for a building, we already have something that meets those requirements.
Andrew, can you talk about the key differences between this shelter and what we would use for schools, special needs, et cetera? There's some key differences. Your point is well taken, but there are some differences.
Yes, so this type of a shelter, and I do understand in a school environment, when we do have a storm, all of the schools become shelters. But this is a facility that is purpose designed and with the knowledge that it would also support a park, a recreation center that is needed in the downtown Dade City area. And so this dual functionality that would be received in this facility is really specific to this area where the need is. And so in Dade City, there is a middle school and an elementary school a block away, less than a block away, from where this would be located. This would be in support of those community groups. After-school activities could be supported here, every day of the week. And then during an emergency, it is centrally located on high ground. We already have the land, so there's no land investment here. What we really would be looking for is just really, it's more of gymnasium to serve the community every day of the week, and then an open area to be able to support emergency operations and to support just a community relief during those emergencies.
But these additional dollars would be for hardening against a Cat 5 type event, unlike your typical school. Except for your high schools, most of your other schools are not, they're not Category 5. And when you have a community shelter similar to the Fasano shelter, you're able to handle special needs folks, which require additional space, they require additional support. And so a facility like this, the community portion, the board is we're already making progress towards trying to meet that. It's really the hardening of the facility against Cat 5 and flooding that is what the dollars would be used for.
Madam Chair.
And we use the Fasano shelter. That's the first shelter to open and the last shelter to close. And so we don't want to shut down a school. All the laws that what's Marcy's law?
Well, there's tremendous pressure as soon as the storm clears that we get the schools opened, and get kids back in the classroom. That's always the challenge. So yes, having dedicated shelter space is at a premium because we still have people.
Commissioner Waitman, then Moore, then Yeager.
That's fine. I'll answer questions.
Since Commissioner Oakley isn't here, what we learned, I understand the price where you're going.
It's empty schools.
Yeah.
So it's not like.
But what we learned, just general comment with the shelter, what we learned during the storms, especially the flooding on the east side, folks. So we had Wesley Chapel District Park that was open for the extended duration. What folks were struggling with to come and stay at West Chapel District Park was the distance in which they were away from their home and the time it took. So people in Trilby and Lacucci or down in Crystal Springs, they didn't want to be 25, 30 minutes away from their home. They just weren't comfortable in it. Because of that, it put folks in a rough spot. They were afraid to leave. And even though we provide transportation, if you're going to be in a shelter, Wesley Chapel District Park is really the place to be. But folks were apprehensive to take advantage because of the distance they were away from their home. And we learned that by walking and talking with folks in the shelter. That initially there was quite a few folks there, but they were jonesing to get out and get back home and be closer to where they were. And so folks struggled and they rode through a storm, and it was a dangerous time for them. It was a dangerous time for our first responders. So definitely a community shelter type space further east of or 301 corridors, I think is needed. And something else, whenever we open up the schools, when the schools shut down, we discuss this, it means the sooner the schools shut down, and there's always seems to be a push now with over preparedness with schools, that means lunches and breakfasts stop being served. And that's thousands and thousands of kids who go without meals for however long period of time. And that's just troublesome. And also what we put in there is the folks who have, the sexual predators are commingled at Wiregrass too. Yeah. And that just creates a whole thing. And so sometimes coordinating with the school district can be a bit cumbersome, even though they're a pretty decent partner. But just something to think about as we look for opportunity for a storm shelter on the east side.
So Madam Chair, can I interject real quick? And I would, Rep. Maggard, you might want to jump in on this as well. I think one of the important things to point out here is that not only is this a community shelter, a special needs shelter, this is going to be one of the very few that can be used by the state and statewide as well. So you could have a hurricane on the east coast of Florida and we need to get people out of there. Guess what? This is a state facility, right? That Pasco County is utilizing and using, right? So there's such a lot. I think there's only about 4 right now, maybe, that could be used statewide.
Wiregrass Ranch Sports Campus as well.
Well, I meant as a statewide facility that's designated as a special needs shelter to be used statewide, Fasano being one of them. But Commissioner Waitman brought up a great point. If you remember the past hurricanes and how they utilized those schools, you had so many special needs people, for example, Wesley Chapel High School.
Oh, yeah, that was a mess.
And that was a disaster. You had people from nursing homes coming from the west side of the county, right? With not enough staffing, not enough people. I was actually there helping them. My wife, as a nurse, stepped up and volunteered. I was out there when I was a county commissioner, putting on Facebook, we need help to help these poor residents that don't have enough staff, getting 34 extra people out there, 40 people, non-medical people that are being trained like that to help, with ADLs and help these poor people that are bedbound. And it's, again, just to reiterate, it's not just a community shelter, it's something that can be used statewide. And one of the things that Representative Maggard stressed during this process last year was if there's a hurricane, I don't care if it's in the Panhandle, the Keys, or wherever it is, if there's something going on in this facility, there's a sports league or something while it's not being used, that gets shut down right then, and we're moving those people in. So I don't know if we want to elaborate at all. I think I hit the nail on the head, but
this has been a conversation of the senators and I for some time. It was always crazy for us to be in the east and have to ship people to the west towards the storm. It made sense. So we have been
We ship them towards
we
the
have
storm.
been talking. We looked at the old armory downtown Dade City. Okay, since they're going to be moving to Zephyr Hills, is there a chance to do something with there? Well, it's too small, and the cost outweighed what it cost for us to build one. We tried to partner with Metropolitan Ministries wants to build something like this around here, but where they want to build it is where Wesley Chapel Park is. Well, I don't need another one there, right? They didn't want to come our side. We've been looking probably since 20 about this. Where can we do? Where can we go? What can we do to do this, to bring these in? Because we have a fairly large, and you understand that, 34% of yours is elderly. We got to ship them towards the storm. Doesn't make sense. So we've been looking on this side for some time. We've looked at doing something at the airport. But at the end of the day, it came up where this seemed to be most feasible for what we were trying to accomplish. And Mike was right. We looked at this as a statewide center. It's going to be sort of modeled after the Fasano as far as how it can take care of people. It's just not for you to come, stay, sleep, and leave. If you got a need, we're there to provide it for you. So this is where this really comes to play. And actually, Danny and I have been trying to be honest, cards on the table. Hey, we're getting ready to be seniors. We only got a short time to get this done. So we're trying to get this and leave Pasco County with something to have after we're gone for our citizens. This area grow. We're still growing, and the population's still growing, and things of that nature. We talked about working with hospitals. How can we use a hospital? But you can't shut down most of the hospitals because they're growing. They're building on because they don't have empty sections. Dade City at one time had a whole wing there was nothing going on with. Well, now they've revamped everything. They're full and they've got an add-on. So we've been trying to find options. So this is what we came up with. Pasco was wanting to partner with us because we wanted it not to sit empty. There are other times of the year. We wanted it to be used for something. But the main point was when there was a storm, it was the states. We take it over and we need to do what we need to do. So there was the thinking, the mindset, how we got there.
And I think, Madam Chair, one more thing, if you don't mind. Some other resources will be housed there as well, especially during the storms. That's important too. When we have these hurricanes, there's such a need for a spot for people for permitting or veteran services. All those things can be housed there during those times where it's easy for those people to get to. So I don't know if you want to elaborate on that at all about some of the other services that you talked about could be housed there for the community needs.
Yeah, obviously making these centers as flexible as possible. I know there was discussion of VA or Veteran Services was going there. Andrew, do you recall other instances?
VA would be the only one in the building that we were going to consider, but we would have to relocate on the campus some of our other resources that we have as other buildings on that same campus.
So a true multi-purpose facility. But
ultimately, it's a building that is truly built. If you think about how the Fasano shelter has been used, when we had Hurricane Michael or Ian, the state used the Fasano shelter in both of those events to help residents from both of those affected areas to come to Pasco. And we housed them, and we supported the state's mission there to ensure that those residents that were in those deeply devastated areas were able to have a safe place. When hospitals in those locations are unable to operate because of the features and functions in this special needs shelter that we have in Fasano and then what would be here in Dade City, it would enable us to really support those type of functions if a hospital were to be unable to operate. This basically becomes a hospital setting. And those are some of the special features and functions that are built into the building that are really, there's oxygen generation on site. Those are special functions and features that are necessary to be able to create one of these type of facilities.
Commissioner Yeager, then we're going to go back to Steele, then we're going to go to Jonathan, then we're going to go to Mariana.
One of the things, for our delegation, if you've not visited the Fasano Center, I would say that's a must before you, when you consider this project, because like Andrew said, there's oxygen. I mean, there's there's critically
Premier is there.
Yeah, critically needy people. They have doctors, they have nurses. Right now, we're working on a designated area for the deaf and the blind. So when storms come, that there's a designated area for them where there's braille and tablets and things like that. But also the second part is, like, Rep Kennedy called me, it was like 9:00 at night, and she's like, I have 299 people that need shelter, and they're all very high need. And we were able to accommodate them. So this is also, another tool in our toolbox to help accommodate those critically needy. But the Fasano shelter, like I said, I encourage everybody to go see it because it's truly fascinating. I mean, it's a hospital, and the Department of Health does an amazing job hosting it. I can't say enough about them.
Representative Steele.
I appreciate it. Everybody's looking at me. I'm not. I was just pointing at empty space and trying to open up opportunities, not saying no to this or being negative towards shelters. So I just want to make sure I clarify that. Where's the land at that we're talking about?
You're local, so Jackson Memorial Hospital.
Okay.
That's basically where we're thinking right there.
Okay.
Where the old Jackson Memorial Hospital used to be.
And when did the county buy that?
We've owned that. Jackson Memorial Hospital used to be a county hospital.
Okay.
So that entire block, that's a county-owned land that has been there for decades and decades.
Did you want to see?
Awesome. And then just the capitalist in me, is there revenue generated by having this facility for different events?
I'm sure there is. I'll ask my counterpart from Parks and Rec to come on up and speak to that part.
You're doing fantastic, Mr. Baxter. Good morning, Keith Wiley, Director of Parks and Recreation, Natural Resources. Like with most park facilities, there's going to be some revenue generation opportunities, but it's not probably going to offset the entire operation, to be fully transparent. So you have as Andrew said, you're going to have your daily programs. There should be, if there's enough space, you could design a community event space to hold those community activities. But the mission of at least Pasco's commission is to provide those to be affordable. So it's not like the primary mission is to make money necessarily. So some revenue.
I'll ask you more questions later on. I don't want to take this place.
We messed up, and I would say Commissioner Mariano was pushing for it. And if I'd been a commissioner at the time, I would have given you those 2 feet you needed?
3 feet, yeah.
3 feet. If we'd made the roof higher at Fasano, then when we weren't using it as a hurricane shelter, we could have had basketball and volleyball in there and really helped that community out. So that was a real sad day.
That's easy to fix.
Yeah, we'll raise that roof. I was just thinking about that, actually. We'll have to see how much that costs.
Can't fix it now.
Just blocks.
Jonathan.
So, Representative, I know you mentioned that there have been schools that are closing. I just looked up the proposed mergers for some. Well, the problem is they're all on the west side of the county. And with the growth we're experiencing over on the east side, I think, so Wiregrass is about 140% capacity. So you're correct, absolutely. There are schools that are perhaps with this merger, I think it's Chasco, Calusa, although Problem is, they're on the Newport Ridge side, so.
Yeah, there's some on this side, but, I'm not trying to make that as an argument. I just was the idea guy, throwing out ideas, that's it.
No, I love it.
So,
All right, after that, I had Commissioner Mariano.
Okay. So, in going through all these hurricanes for all these years, and last summer, driving around Dade City, Zephyr Hills, taking my GPS, it tells me to go here, there, and I can't go here because I got water on the road, water on the road. Then with Helene and Milton coming in, with all the stormwater that's in that area, with Lakuchi goes, what, a mile and a half out of its banks? So you get all those homes that while we're recovered, even on the west side now, everybody on the east side's still buried and can't get back into their homes. Having this facility would be a place where they can go and stay even after the schools are long open and going. And if you got people that maybe they can't live in their houses, is being gutted, et cetera, but you got some people that need extra care, now you get a place for them to stay. And if it goes along that way, it's gonna be a much better life. And if anybody else in the region needs something else for the state, that's a great benefit too. But the multi-use portion of this facility is great. I mean, Fasano is a negative heartburn, like it could have been so much more. We actually have a team from Florida Coast Football and a Tampa team that want to come up and actually do some indoor soccer now. That looked at it, so we're going to work on that. But having this multi-use facility, as well as taking these people that in case these flood banks get full again, you can't get into your home, they get a place to go instead of going across county. And it's hard enough getting people to go 15 miles, never mind going 30 miles. So it is such a big thing. What I'd like to know is if from the reps in the room, Senate side as well, how come this only got a little bit of funding, like 25 grand and then nothing? I mean, what happened with that up there? I don't get it.
That was a placeholder, I think.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at that, we had an interesting budget year. And the 25 grand for us, right? And it doesn't appear that way to the rest of the world. Sometimes that's a bad thing for us with our messaging. You can't explain every move.
Representative Maggard, could you move your microphone closer, please? Thank you.
So the idea was for the 25 is to keep it as a placeholder since we wasn't going to get all the money for last year. It is easier for us at the state if there's money for the project when we go back. It's already there for us to add to whatever that dollar amount may be, right? So when you get down to the last 24 hours of the 101st day, you're figuring out where you're going to land. We always try to leave something there to leave, I hate to use the word placeholder for $40 million, but a placeholder, whatever the dollar is amount. So when we come back this year, we've already got something established, right? So that was the point of it. Now, the governor turned around and vetoed it, whatever, that's always out of our control. But that was the thought when we found out we could not get what we thought we were going to get because of the changes that happened in the last week, and especially the last 24 hours. So the argument was, can we get something in there as a placeholder for us to have, so it's so much easier for us to move on going forward in this year. And that was the idea.
And I will say, this was my 12th legislative session up there, and this was the most peculiar session I've ever been a part of. It was, particularly in the budgeting process, it was peculiar.
We'll leave things unsaid here. Keith.
Yes. So, really good discussion. Something I want to add that I brought up last year was that there's several things that are happening here that are kind of causing this. I think Representative Maggard called this out. So the Parks Master Plan calls for a recreation complex to occur in northeast Pasco County. The city of Dade City is also in the process of considering renovating the James Irvin complex, and we know we need a shelter on the east side. So I think that the concept of joining all those uses is a good approach to making sure that we're not pursuing anything that's overly wasteful. And if we can get it right, like Commissioner Mariano says, we can have an activation plus also a weekday basketball program without any issues. So.
And I have my legislative aide, Katie, who's been working with the school district, trying to find an empty school. When you wanted to say what's going on with the school we thought was empty. And
they're shuffling schools around. So while school's being renovated, it's moving into where Calusa is because Calusa dispersed. So that's going in there. there's another school, and the name is skipping me right now, but they have plans for it, but they haven't announced it yet, so they wouldn't tell us what they were doing with it, but they have 0 space.
And so they closed Elfers Elementary but they turned that into what is the program they're having at Elfers Elementary?
The Mini PLOC?
Yeah, Mini PLOC.
That was a early education program that they were using half the building
something
for.
else in them. We're trying to get a school, trust me. We're trying to
And
find
some of the
one.
schools also, they said that they don't have enough room here over at District. So they're moving offices and storage, and they're just making use of whatever buildings they have. So they don't have anything that's empty and available.
That's what we found. Did you want to?
I mean, I think part of the problem is, and I don't want to say it's a problem, is they're moved into charter or they're moved to private before it's even an option for a county to have access to it. So it's several reasons, but I think there's a couple of them. I don't think there's just one.
We're continuing to try.
Yeah, no worries.
One more thing I mentioned, that one of the great things that we did with the Fasano shelter, and actually with 5A high schools, when we started allowing pets to come in, it was a big move to get people out of their homes. And that's just another thing that can help with the people not have to worry about their pet, no one's gonna be, it would be taken care of while they're rebuilding their lives.
I have a favorite picture of one of the hurricanes. That Ray Gadd sent me the photo of a giant pig at the shelter in a cage. I keep it in my favorites.
I remember that.
All right, we're moving on to Mitchell Boulevard and Starkey, and I'll let staff present this, but I have a few comments on this one as well. Starkey Road is in Pinellas County, just want to say that. This is Starkey Boulevard.
Good morning. Yeah, Nick Uren, county engineer. Yeah, I don't know who created
Same
this
family, one's a road, one's a boulevard.
Sure. So I think the key to this from a state legislative perspective is we'd love to relieve congestion on the state highway system. And one of the best ways to do that is by constructing parallel connecting facilities that don't require you to travel on the state highway system. And this 4-lane road would go between Little Road and State Road 54, relieving one of the busiest intersections. Not the busiest, that's US 41 and State Road 54, and we have a plan for that too. But one of the busiest intersections on the State Road 54 corridor where we can alleviate some of that congestion by building this alternative facility.
So I'm looking at the numbers here, and I just don't think this project is teed up enough yet, but and we're not showing here the contribution from the 2 developments that are going to be on the north side, and there'll be one on the south side. So those developers will be required to build their 2 lanes to the edges of their developments, and then we're going to be responsible for the middle portion. But I think I'm going to have to, as important as this road is to the west side, I don't think it's ready yet because those developments are not in for permits yet. So this wouldn't be a good project. So I'm going to pivot to, you can stay there. I'm going to pivot to 2 other roads, and I'll work with Senator Hooper because I always talk to him because this is his district. And Representative Yeager, we always work together. But my thoughts are to either pivot to Trinity Boulevard or Rangeland. And where are we with Rangeland? Rangeland is a big reliever for State Road 54. On the west side of the county, from the Suncoast west, there is no other road that goes east-west. So last year, we had a grease truck spill its contents on State Road 54, shut it down all day. They had to bring trucks in from the other part of the state. No one in their businesses could leave. No one could. You had to go down into Hillsborough County or up around to move around. So residents were stuck. No one went to school. It was quite a disaster. So Rangeland will relieve that.
We're concluding the route study for that and kicking off design and should be ready to go to full design and then into construction in 2 to 3 years.
Yeah, so this one's pretty much ready to go. And then Trinity Boulevard, we had that in our 5-year CIP a few years ago. We did a little restructuring of our TIF money, which is our transportation infrastructure.
Tax increment financing.
Yeah, okay. That's our money we get every year? You explain it better than me.
Yeah, I mean, in a sense, you set a baseline value of properties, and then any revenues collected in excess over that base value, we set aside a certain percentage that to invest into transportation projects, in a nutshell.
But, so we kind of redid that formula and sent some money over to the Parks Department because we don't have enough money for upkeep in the Parks Department. And the thought was that as the Delta kept growing, that we would have, as the money kept growing, we'd have enough money to do Trinity Boulevard, but the road costs kept growing. So it does not have any funding. So I will be bringing back another road project or infrastructure project in my district for consideration, but this is not ready for prime time, and I certainly wouldn't be asking for $40 million, so I know better. Yes.
I mean, not today, but if you have a map of where that is, I'd like to see.
Yeah. If you, we should have maps on all of these, but it's a road that is gonna, Rangeland goes through Starkey Ranch right now. It terminates kind of near Gun Highway. And this is a road that's we've already got the right of way, most of it. It goes at an angle to 54, kind of like this. It will cross over the Suncoast and maybe one day connect to the Suncoast. We have to make that vote here. Goes into Bexley. Bexley's already built, Bexley Boulevard. Goes up to 41, goes up to Aaron Cutoff, goes up to 52. It's been on the county's map for construction since before I moved here, actually. So it was called the Bi-County Thruway back then.
Is it using existing right-of-way?
It's the old railroad corridor, the Orange Belt Railroad. Yeah. Okay, so that's kind of it for me. You got a short one because mine's not ready. That one's not ready for prime time.
Okay, the last two appropriations asks are intersection improvements. We have a long list of ones that we're looking at, but these two are the most shovel-ready.
So, Chair?
Yep.
So, Rep. Maggard, this, oh, never mind, Ms. Curley. We're going Island first.
Panos Contes, Assistant County Engineer. This one and the next slide involve intersection improvements. This one is for the Inland Boulevard and Silverado Ranch. The intersection improvements involve also signalization. This project and the next project are on a very busy corridors. Curly Road and Inland Boulevard are experiencing increasingly growing traffic because of the connected city and villages of Pasadena Hills development districts. Communities along those roads find it very difficult to get in and out of their residences. We also have complaints about speeding. So signalization is going to help through all those. It's going to help with the access to those communities. It's going to slow traffic. And also they're going to provide enough traffic gaps for the upstream and downstream intersections to help also the other communities that don't get signalization. So we think those are very useful for the public projects, and we include them in these appropriations.
I've got a question.
Yes, Jonathan.
Thank you. As someone who drives on Island Boulevard in this area every single day, I can attest to the traffic. But one thing I'm wondering, so between Handcart and basically Geiger, you've got 4 traffic signals already. The one on Dean Dairy, Simon, and Geiger are about, all 3 of them are about half a mile apart. And adding another one out in front of Silverado, how are you all going to link them together? With the
Yes,
signals?
they will be interconnected.
Okay,
Yes.
because right now the traffic.
Assure the progression of the traffic. Yes.
Okay, all right, that was my question. Thank you.
Yes, Mr. Waitman.
And Rep. Maggard, this Curly Road and Chapel Pines Boulevard intersection, this would be such a fantastic complementary project to the sidewalk funding that y'all captured this last session. This would tie right up the neighborhood coming out with the safely where the kids coming up to Wells and getting to the school complex. So just the project that we captured with this Curly Road and Chapel Pines Boulevard, those two are very complementary to each other if there's an opportunity.
So we're basically just adding red lights, is what we're paying for. Is that right?
Yes, correct.
I've seen that back up there. It can get
Not
substantial.
as fast as you drive.
That's
You just go around there. That's why you want the bike.
We're not gonna comment
She
on
wants the bike trail so she can drive on the back.
She was the car that was stuck when they were doing the
That's
water
why
over there in the grass.
I was on.
No, my car's, my
52
Porsche is
up
four-wheel
that way.
drive, all-wheel drive.
I'll get with you on these.
Did I get
And
stuff?
get me more details on them. We'll have that discussion, or get with Mike either one.
You will certainly get that.
I got you.
And you get with Danny on that.
Yes, sir.
Okay, Curly Road.
We got
That's the one we
that.
just.
I think
Oh, got 'em on?
Yeah.
All right, we are on to policy proposals.
Thank you.
Okay, this first one is a fix to Senate Bill 180. Did are you able to skip to it?
Knew it had to be a Senate project.
I guess my
It's
first
probably an old
question
one,
is,
Pasadena.
I'm not sure
Why
this
did you
should
all
be
fix
on
it?
our list, because I think Ralph wanted to submit this to FAC, so that it would become an FAC proposal. It's more of a statewide issue than a Pasco issue, so I'm
Yeah,
not sure
I
why
s-
it's on our list.
No,
Let me
no, I
start
still
there.
think it's important that we potentially discuss it. FAC may carry the water on this, which I think would be great, in which case we don't necessarily have to push it. But, I mean, I think it's just important for awareness as to what the impact.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is an issue where the law doesn't necessarily match the legislative intent. I would like to say that it's probably, I'm hoping it was just an error in bill drafting. I do think that there was an intent by the legislature to help those properties that were damaged by hurricanes from more restrictive or burdensome regulations. Our board supports that. You know, we were about to adopt an ordinance that makes it clear that we do not intend to impose any more restrictive or burdensome regulations on properties damaged by hurricanes. The problem is the way the bill was drafted, it allows greenfield developers to argue that they also should be protected from more restrictive or burdensome regulations. And so, for example, you all talked about the fire rescue impact fee earlier. Representative Steele brought that up. We've had developers argue that we can't impose that fire rescue impact fee on greenfield developers because of the way Senate Bill 180 was drafted. So I'm hoping this is just a drafting error that the legislature can fix and that we can get clarified. But the way it's worded right now, any of our land development regulations that apply to a greenfield developer arguably are preempted under this law. Don't think that was the legislature's intent. I'm pretty sure it wasn't the governor's intent when he signed the law. He's on record as saying that he intended to help properties damaged by hurricanes. And so we're trying to get some help to make sure the law is clarified so that this doesn't become a get out of jail free card for every developer in the state of Florida. That's the short version.
Madam Chair?
Yep.
Just touch, when we were trying to help the people out, we didn't charge them permitting fees just to get their houses back in order.
Yeah.
And we took a lot of our money from that budget to go do that. So we're trying to help these people too, just like we think the governor was as well.
Representative Steele.
Can you help me understand what we're identifying as an issue? Like, is it deleting lines?
So the way the law was worded, and by the way, this was language that was added at the last day of the session. It was not something that was in the prior version of the bill. But it's very clear that for some of the preemptions, like on moratoriums, it's only on regulations that would impact somebody damaged by a hurricane. But that language was not carried forward to the preemption for other land development regulations and comprehensive plan amendments and other procedures. So because it wasn't carried forward to the rest of the clauses, it creates an argument that we can't adopt anything more restrictive or burdensome on anybody for the next 3 years. Which, like I said, with our fire rescue impact fee, we use those fees to help firefighters get equipment. And so if we can't, and we wouldn't assess it to somebody damaged by a hurricane because they're rebuilding their home. But arguably, it prevents us from assessing it to even a greenfield developer. That's the problem.
You know, we've been, when was the last time we updated our comp plan? 2006?
It's been, I think, since we did a major update to the comp plan, it's been
Like
2006.
a crazy long time ago. And so anyone who's doing any development in Pasco County pretty much has to come in and do a comp plan amendment. Takes a lot of time, costs them a lot of money. Our land use attorneys are very happy, but it really slows the process and costs a lot of money. We have to send it up to Tallahassee. They send it back. We've never had one rejected that I know of. But we're just about done with our comp plan revisions. We're going to be approving them in the next few months. But along with the comp plan revisions, we have to update then our land development code because they go hand in hand, right? And so we probably won't be able to update our land development
The comp
code
plan is
now.
actually maybe even the bigger issue because Manatee County and Orange County have already had their comp plan amendments rejected because of Senate Bill 180. Same concept. Well, at least in Orange County, they had not done an update in a long time. They were going through their update. It was rejected by the Department of Commerce because of Senate Bill 180. Now, our approach is a little different because we do have a carve out for properties damaged by hurricanes. Orange County and Manatee County didn't necessarily do that. But it's still possible that the Department of Commerce could reject our comp plan because of Senate Bill 180, because of the way it's worded. Now, I can't speak to the reason you all voted for that bill, but we have spoken to some legislators who believe that their intent was to protect properties damaged by hurricanes. So maybe you all can comment why you voted on it, but that's what we think the intent was based on the way we read the law.
Did it alter the comprehensive land use in the future? I'm trying to figure out.
So what it does is it preempts us from adopting any more restrictive or burdensome comprehensive plan amendment, land development regulation amendment, or procedure on issuance of permitting through October 2nd of 2027, if it's more restrictive or burdensome.
Would that be our tree ordinance potentially?
That applies to.
Open to interpretation.
It applies to almost, an argument can be made, the way, and developers have argued this, that it applies to any regulation we adopt, comprehensive plan amendment, land development regulation amendment, and it was retroactive. So for an example of our fire rescue impact fee, we had already adopted it. We were literally ready to start charging it when Senate Bill 180 got adopted and it was made retroactive to August 1st of last year. So it covered our fire rescue impact fee. Now, our board took the stance that we were only going to exempt properties damaged by hurricanes that was how we were going to implement Senate Bill 180, but because it's subject to a contrary interpretation, developers could sue us and get attorney's fees and we could lose.
Right.
And so there are some counties that are they're just not implementing anything they adopt because of Senate Bill 180.
Representative, we can provide you the
Yeah, I just
three
wanted-
sections that.
If there's
we think need to
something
be-
simple to change on
Yeah.
it, that's easier to adjust than writing an entirely new bill to adjust.
It would be very easy the language that they put in there for moratoriums, if they just put that same language in for land development code amendments and comprehensive plan amendments.
So this is restricting you guys from charging a higher impact fee is what I'm just trying to.
Arguably, yes.
Okay.
All kinds of things.
Now, if it's limited to properties damaged by hurricane, no issue we're fine with that because we wouldn't assess an impact fee to somebody trying to rebuild after a hurricane anyway, because that impact was already there.
Madam Chair,
Yeah.
can you draft the language for them so they can see what they?
I'm happy to draft the
Bring it.
language for whoever.
If it's a delete, it's a lot easier to implement than if it's a bill. I mean,
Well,
It's not a delete.
we can add the same language in three sections that they used in one.
because we're allowed to have 7 bills in the House. Now, the Senate
Yeah.
can have 500 million bills. We can only have 7. So when you have 7 bills, I've already got 30 on my list. So trying to get something like this, we also have in some cases where we can do deletions where it's a correction to a law and it's not counted against the 7. So that's why I'm saying it's something very simple like that.
It is simple, but the county attorney is correct.
Yeah,
It's
like
an
a repeal.
addition, not a deletion.
Yeah.
You have to add language.
We could delete those whole
Well,
paragraphs.
that ain't gonna work.
But that's not gonna.
I can
We're
tell you right
doing it
now,
anyway.
if it
We're
was,
doing it anyway.
You're doing what anyways?
We're not charging them.
Well, I'm just saying, if
We're not imposing.
it was in the land use bill, I don't think you're going to get that unchanged.
It was an emergency management bill.
Right, but that's that was the land use bill that was put into that. So I and I wasn't involved in that, but some of those things you're not going to undo. Is all I'm going to say. And it's not by our vote. There's 120 of us, and anyways, I don't have no problem trying to work with you to try to identify it. But if you give me what it's Senate Bill 180, I'll ask before you guys waste your time.
We'll give it to all of you.
Yeah.
I'm happy to draft the language.
Sure.
It's a simple change, but I need to know that there's some ability to do it.
Yeah, no, I don't want you wasting.
I think we should say it's not a change, it's a clarification.
No, we don't have clarification.
Yeah.
What we need to do is take a look at the bill and see how it
Yeah.
affects. The point of the bill was to protect the citizen.
100%.
We did not see that around the state. So unfortunately, when there's a problem comes to Tallahassee, we vote yes, it affects 67 counties,
Yeah.
right? I just can't say, can you exempt Pasco? It don't work that way.
Yeah.
So if there was a problem with it, this is the first I've heard of it.
Yeah.
We just need to look at it and see if it's something we can tweak, fix, or is it a problem? Or was they meant to do that? And so we can figure out what the problem is. I honestly don't know. But the idea was, we were trying to take the burden off of the citizen who just got demolished. Then we're getting hit with everything else from locals to make it different than what they had. And they just couldn't afford to do that.
Right.
And
Yeah.
we were protecting them. That's the bottom line of
Yeah.
what we're trying to accomplish out of that
100%.
bill.
And there is language. in
Pinellas
the-
County was the
yeah.
biggest need for that.
And there is language in the bill
Senator
that's.
was the Senate sponsor of the bill because his folks down in Pinellas County were just tearing their hair out because of
They're still doing it.
the delays
Yeah,
that were
I
going
got family
on
who's
at the
trying to
county, in the county.
So we'll take a look at the bill.
Yeah.
We'll just call staff and look at the bill. And what I really want from you, send me an email or send Rep Steele an email and say, okay, here's our concern. This is how it's affecting us. Then we can get with staff with that and say, okay, was this the intent? Is this what we wanted? Is what Nick wanted to do? If he did, then we got to come up with a solution. If he didn't, we'll try to come up with a fix. And that's
Okay.
about as honest as I can be about, because I don't know.
I can send you the same proposal we sent to FAC, which explains all of this.
I'd say whole delegation.
Okay. Thank you.
Thanks, David.
Thank you.
Thank you, David. And he made a good point. The Florida Association of Counties has their policy conference next week, so we'll see what comes out of that.
And Jack and I will be there.
Okay, this next one, Brian, thank you.
All right, good morning. Brian Hogan, Director of Community Services. And this is just a request for support for the CCE, Community Care for the Elderly Program, in conjunction with FCOA, Florida Council on Aging, and FASP, Florida Association of Aging Service Providers. Just putting forth this recommendation to support continued funding. Would like to thank Representative Steele, myself, Kathy Pearson, and Anne Marie Winter. Had the opportunity to talk to him about our program earlier this year, as well as share some budgetary information. So appreciate your support and initiatives. Just to remind the board, we're in our third year of operating this program, more commonly known as the lead agency. We are operating it from a revenue neutrality perspective. And things are looking good. We go over that information with our county administrator and our budget office every year during our budget hearings. Didn't know if there were any questions specific to this particular ask and support.
Seeing none. Thank you very much.
All right.
I think next one's yours as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Making up some time here. So this is for misdemeanor probation. I know we talked previously about Florida State Statute 119 earlier, and so this request is actually to include our probationary staff members. They are not sworn officers. We have had instances where there have been major safety concerns. Particularly, we have had defendants show up at houses and leave notes on vehicles of our team members. We have had instances in the office where our team members have felt threatened. Our team members are working with individuals who have committed crimes. So it's important for us to prioritize their safety, of course. More recently, one of the things that has been concerning is we have had an increased interaction with federal agents, specifically ICE and other federal agents that are supporting ICE initiatives to come in and pick up illegal immigrants that do come in for misdemeanor probation appointments. So with that increased interaction, there of course is fear of retaliation from family members who are not deported, as well as individuals who maybe go through the process because they are reassigned on probation and could potentially see that same probation officer conducting that initial appointment. So it was important for us to put forth the ask this morning to make sure that we could support the inclusion of probation officers in that statute. Any questions on that? Awesome. Thank you very much.
I had no idea when I became a commissioner that we handled probation at the county. I would have thought that was a court sheriff thing, but, okay.
I think it varies because the Pinellas County Sheriff's Office takes care of that.
Oh. Well, let's give it back. Let's give it to.
All right, this is the last slide. These are just a few policy initiatives that I'm not sure if there's much of an appetite with here, but wanted just to at least educate the group with raising the 911 fee, indexing local option fuel taxes, and anonymous code enforcement complaints. So that last one may be addressed by FAC. We'll have to take a look at that next week. We have. Go ahead, Amy. Yeah. Thank you.
Hi, Amy Farrell, Budget Director. For the 911 fee, just to give you some perspective for our local jurisdiction, the 40 cents that's currently being captured does not cover the full cost of the operations for the 911 center. We are subsidizing roughly 10.95 million a year when we look over the next 10-year projection. Raising the fee to 50 cents, which is what is being proposed, would bring that subsidy down to about 8.67 million a year, so still doesn't close the gap. To completely close the gap, Pasco County would need to see the fee increase to $1.46. Probably not an appetite for that, but just to give you some perspective on the cost of operating the 911 center versus the revenue that this fee generates.
And I think it's important to note too that Pasco County, we've consolidated all of the 911 centers across the county from the various cities. So now that is handled internally here, which provides more efficient operation.
Any questions?
Good morning again, Nick Uren, County Engineer. Second item on there, indexing local option fuel taxes. I'm sure you're all familiar with the State Comprehensive Enhanced Transportation System Tax. It's established by 206.41, Section 1F. The legislature in 1990 had the foresight to index that state tax so that it would keep up with the cost of delivering transportation projects over time. Local option fuel taxes don't do that. Local governments have the ability to levy a 1 to 12 cent local option fuel tax. Pasco County has chosen to levy 12 cents. As of 2014, that's when we added our fifth, the 5 cent second local option fuel tax. If that fuel tax had been indexed, we would have collected an additional $14.5 million over time. What we've essentially done is lost our purchasing power from the point of creation to today. And so we're struggling to fund transportation projects, which is why we went through so many appropriation requests for transportation facilities earlier this morning. So our ask is, hey, it was great for the state's fuel tax. We would love to see that same indexing process. The equation's already written into statute. Apply it to the local option fuel taxes and allow us to keep the purchasing power intended by those local fuel taxes.
Yeah, and currently right now that subsidy is just made up through your TIF, which is used to fund transportation and public works operations.
And then we have the growing issue of electric vehicles not paying for any roads, right?
That's really a different conversation.
Gas tax collections in general are flat to declining anyway,
Yes.
so that's a direct correlation of that. But indexing with cost is really what we're talking about and eroding the buying power.
This is a stopgap.
That's a national issue.
This is a stopgap repair while we continue to discuss the mileage-based user fee approaches that have circulated the legislature.
Representative Steele.
Two thoughts on that. I mean, we can charge them a larger tag fee, right, for those vehicles, or charge, the electric companies a fee, for the kilowatts used to charge vehicles. So, I mean, there's two ways you can look at that, but target them only, right? Because it's the use of the roadways they're not paying for.
But do you like the idea of indexing the local option? This is something that the county's, in fact, has been after for years. I mean, we're losing the,
It's an
not
inflationary
keeping
measure.
up.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's an inflationary measure that the state DOT gets to take advantage of, but local governments do not.
I mean, I don't know.
We'd ask less money
I
from you
would.
guys,
I
you
mean,
know?
I don't know if it's good or I don't know if it's bad.
Yeah, well, look
So
into
it's
it.
gonna,
Yeah.
we just have to run the numbers and see
Yeah.
what affects. I can pretty well tell you if it's gonna raise something to the citizens, it's gonna be a no. I mean, that's just how the House and the Senate's looking at it right now. But we're trying to take burdens off of the citizens, not add. So if it adds anything, whatever, and I'm not sure that it will or does or not, 'cause I really haven't studied that one, then it will not fly, I can tell you that.
Yeah, I mean, typically the way, and I look at this as a company, when a company is operating in the red, they have to make cuts. They don't just go arbitrarily charge their customers more money. So it's the same concept here. You should operate as a company and work within the means that you have available to you and not exceed that. So.
And that's what we do.
Yeah, and I'm not suggesting you don't, I'm just saying in general terms, so.
Okay.
Code complaints?
Good morning. I'm J.R. Tamau, Co-Compliance Manager. So as you can see, regarding Senate Bills, disregard Senate Bill, the change to Florida State Statute 162 and 125, we felt as a county, and I think a majority of municipalities within the state of Florida felt the impact and overall call volume, but more importantly, citizen safety. It's been a significant challenge. It's a daily challenge for our team in our office, dealing with disgruntled employees who are very upset, or citizens who are very upset with the fact that they can't report these complaints anonymously. I think many of the Board of County Commissioners have faced that challenge with their own constituents, and it's a challenge we continually attempt to overcome. But the more significant issue is not necessarily how it is written, but how we can make it operationally and administratively functional as a code compliance agency.
So a little history, it was, they were able to do, let's see, when I first became a commissioner, it was you couldn't do anonymous. Then it was switched back to anonymous, which I 100% support. But then someone, a legislator in South Florida, either had a constituent or that legislator had someone doing, multiple calls, and he got the language switched. He's no longer in office anymore. Do you remember who it was, Mike? I don't know if you know this one. So we brought this up at FAC last year. There was every single county but one was really hoping for this change to go back to anonymous. I can tell you, I've had constituents who've ended up in the hospital because they had a drug house next door to them. They called it in, and they got beaten up. 17 stitches, one guy in his face. So what happens is they don't get reported, and neighborhoods get degraded. Sometimes it used to be that we could call them in, but we can't do that anymore either. So I think there's some fixes so that it's not abused. You could say maybe the name is public after a year, or there's a high penalty if you're calling them in and they're found to be substantiated. But something to help these communities get their lives back when they have neighbors who are misbehaving or property is, in real disrepair and they want to call. So, yeah.
Thank you. I'd say when this law was passed years ago, I think it was one of the worst things the legislature's ever done to the people.
Yeah.
You get seniors out there, 34% of the population, they're afraid of what the neighborhood bully or druggie is going to do to them if they put a complaint in. And we've had places, we got to go clean these houses out with all the trash that's out there that just accumulates and accumulates, causing more tax dollars to go to clean up a neighborhood. I had a gentleman, we're playing at the Sunwest, we had a sand soccer tournament. He's telling me about his neighborhood where he's got 4 houses where we got all these violations going on, but they're afraid to go turn the violations in because they're gonna get attacked.
They get their
So-
cars keyed, all
So-
kinds of things.
So if we've got people that we're worried about protecting the judges, we're worried about protecting probation, people and doing probation, why aren't we letting our people be protected? If you can call in a complaint for something for the sheriff's office, why can't you do it to protect your own neighborhood? We got code enforcement people out there want to get their job done, they can't get it done, and people are afraid, and you even handcuffed us to even be able to put a complaint in, because I'd go put them in.
You're looking at me.
No, I'm just saying.
I didn't run that
You gave me
bill, I can promise
you gave me
that.
the 34%, so I'm hanging on that number.
It's
But
time
literally,
to
I've
fix
seen
this
they're
one, really.
scared.
When,
They're scared
when
in
was
the
that
neighborhoods.
passed?
So, Madam Chair, I found it for you.
Yeah.
So it was Senator Bradley. It was Senate Bill 60, and that was in 2021.
I think that was that my freshman year? Or I was running for office then?
Yeah, I don't think you were.
I think I was running for office then.
Yeah, so it was
Not
20,
it.
Mr. Senator.
But we can
2021.
fix it. That's something easy.
The whole state will jump for joy.
Appreciate it.
This will save a lot of people from getting beaten up, cars crashed, keyed, all those things.
Can I just ask a quick question?
Yeah.
You know, what kind of funding is going to be required to man those requests?
Nothing.
Nothing? So there's no difference in costs, there's no difference in
Nope.
expenses?
You'll save money.
Yeah.
Because instead of a neighborhood going down and getting worse and more trash, we gotta go clean it up and wait to get reimbursed later on, now all that goes away, because now.
How
we
much
can
will
nip it
we
early.
save doing it?
Millions and millions of dollars.
Because okay, then we're going to expect that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Quoting Starkey, millions and millions upon millions squared.
$1 million. Okay, what's next?
Billion. 1 billion.
That's it? I wanted to touch on something real quick, and then I'll also let our legislators come back. I don't know if you knew what Commissioner Mariano was talking about with Davis-Bacon. Are you familiar with that? That is a federal program.
Yes.
The Davis-Bacon Act. Is there anyone here who can speak to it better than me? If not, I will give it a try. Come on up. Because you say you go to Washington. I'm trying to fix this nationally, but my committee, I haven't been able to get this through because of the political makeup of the committee I'm on.
What committee are you talking about?
It's at national level.
Okay.
Community Economic Development Workforce.
Hi, I'm
vice
Anthony
chair.
Thomas from the Office of Strategy and Sustainability. Davis-Bacon really is a fair and equal opportunity for federal funding. What that does is via the CFR 200, it makes it to where wage acknowledgements, when we ask these contractors and we have them and we're subcontracting them out, to make sure that they're paying their employees a local wage that is within standard. So we're not paying $2 for somebody that's pouring concrete per hour. You know, we have to maintain that. That's maintained by the federal government. We have to pull directly from them the wage tables that they have for Davis-Bacon requirements. That's what makes some of these projects cost a little more, is because when we do go through the bidding process, we do have to have Davis-Bacon requirement. We have to follow the CFR 200, especially when we are getting federal funding that's coming behind some of those items.
It adds to the cost of a project like you wouldn't believe. We had this on our AmSkills remodel. Cost us a year, at least a year of time. It is so difficult. You have to chase down every subcontractor and get every wage they paid to anyone who worked on the job.
And they
It
have
is-
to be posted on the site.
It is a nightmare.
It's called Davis.
Davis-Bacon Act.
Okay, I just want to make sure I had it right. Okay.
So we're trying to it hasn't been modernized in decades.
And it's called out in the CFR 200 for the federal
I
funding.
have that, CFR 200.
Yeah.
So
Commissioner?
And I've sat in the transportation committee for many years, since when we tried to get Ridge Road done, et cetera, so I've gotten to know the engineers very well. Matter of fact, one of our reps now works for them. The cost of doing paperwork to document all these things is absolutely phenomenal. Never mind even the wages, which people are gonna pay competitive wages anyway, pretty much. It's America still. But I'll give you an example, just as she's talking about AmSkills, Steps to Recovery, our veterans program. We gave them $3 million to build 33 beds, put in all sorts of facilities, take these veterans out of the woods, take care of them. And they've run this program for 7 years. This lady started with her own pension, put the money forward to buy her first building, bought a few more, got 7 buildings, and right in the area, she got this land donated, and now they're putting through the process. The federal money was about a $2 million match, $2.5 million match, and for that, they had to follow all Davis-Bacon. Well, they engineered the They engineered it to the best of their ability every step of the way, architects, engineers, et cetera. When they went through it, they get delayed months on it,
Yep.
going through it, and the cost went up because of some of the stupid things that had to be in there. And I mean that, raised the cost over $450,000 and just slowed the whole project down and going through.
For paperwork.
For just paperwork. But again, between paperwork and extra costs, this is a huge thing. And I gotta think that, so many, I'll just say it, so many Democrats do not want to change this thing, and
No.
want to let it go. Republicans, I just gotta think with Trump in the White House, that make things happen. If ever this bill is gonna get looked at, to be legitimate, to really get scrutinized to what the effects have been, what's about slowing down and costs us money?
Yeah.
It costs us money and slows us down.
Massive,
So,
massive.
I'll
money
give you an
maker.
example, and I brought this up in committee, and I didn't realize this CFR 200 process, but Elder Affairs was building a assisted living facility, and my buddy does that for a living, builds them and owns them and operates them. He's got like 20 in this area. For him to build the same facility, same size, same number of beds, it was $19 million. Elder Affairs needed $102 million.
Yeah, this is our
So,
world.
I get it, and I want to address it, and I think that, maybe we do address this, and, we'll have to get on the phone with some of the secretaries of Trump's team or Trump himself and have this dialogue, but I get it. I fought that, because to me, I think I want to support all of our veterans and all of them, but at the same time, it should be within what's normal and reasonable to do the same function of work. So, and it's not like they're going to pay those people infinitely that same value.
Yeah.
You're just paying them for that one job, and then they're going to go right back down to their normal wage, when they get the next job. So
It's a money grab.
But it's the paperwork burden. Literally, they say, the engineers, they say, my paperwork, if I do a non-Davis Bacon, my paperwork's here, from the table to here. And if I have to go through, I'm that much higher.
can you minimize which projects have to follow that process?
It's all, anything with federal, any CDBG grant that,
Sometimes it's not even worth then going federal if it's a small
Yeah,
sidewalk,
exactly.
right?
We
Yeah,
weigh those
yeah.
costs.
yeah. I've got another federal one for you. I brought it up a few times, and we had a workshop on this. And this is not a state issue or a local issue, but it affects us all. And this has to do with our housing vouchers. And again, this is my committee at NACO, and we're going to be talking about this. We're going to be talking about this next week in, is it this week? Next week in Gainesville at FAC. So that's the old Section 8 vouchers, and every county has a housing authority, and it's a federal body, right? So you can move to Pasco County and live here for one day and be considered a Pasco County resident and get a housing voucher and take one of our subsidized housing opportunities. They have to advertise, and this is what caught my attention a couple months ago. There was an ad on the news channel did a story that the Pasco County housing voucher list was open and anyone in the country could apply to move to Pasco County and get on our housing voucher list. Now, we have Pasco County residents that are on that list, and they should be, true residents, not ones that moved here for one day. We should be able to take care of our local Pasco County resident needs before we invite people from all over the country to come here and take our subsidized housing. So it's called Local Options First.
Send that to me. I just sent that other thing to Trump's team, so we'll get that.
So I believe, and most of the commissioners I've talked to believe, that we should be allowed to satisfy our list of locals first before we ask people who, maybe need a lot of help in our society to move here.
How about Floridians and then county,
It's crazy. Then you live here for 1 year, and you can take that voucher and you can move to another county, another state that has an opening, and the sending county has to pay the difference. So this is something that needs to be looked at. It really does. And to say you're a Pasco County resident if you've only lived here 1 day, that has to be changed too. So
send that to me.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
Please.
another thing Jason could talk about it, Branf could talk about it, even Joseph, but the Army Corps 404 permitting, slowing down every project. That's Sea Pines project?
You're gonna see that speed up. We just, the Army Corps was there and they're taking a different approach.
Yeah, well, I didn't say, I'm delighted that the feds came down to talk with you guys from the state level to see that perspective, so that's phenomenal. Last thing I want to say is, we've had great success with the scholarship season coming through. Representative Maga, thank you for your help. You were critical in getting that stuff done. Commissioner Simpson was very helpful with getting it done. And we're now going through some other improvements with restorations, sediment removals up and down the coast. And right now, we're in an aquatic preserve. Representative Masulo had passed it years ago. It was 146-1 vote. The only vote against it was my daughter Amber when she was a rep. And what I was afraid of was going to slow us down in getting the stuff done. And it has, but the bigger problem, and I've talked to Representative Masulo about this, he's going to work on it for us, but I want you guys to know about it, because I might need your help coming up, is it's the mitigation factors. We'd be in charge like 13-1 mitigation. 1-1 or 2-1 is normal. So it's very costly and very prohibitive to get stuff done. So as you guys are dealing with things and you'll see things coming up, we're working with it right now. He's going to try to help us, working with Jessica up in Fish and Wildlife. They're actually going to come down and look at some of the things we're trying to do. We're trying to improve our coast, improve water quality. And this here is actually supposed to help us, is actually hurting us.
13-1. That's crazy.
I've got something that would probably help you. I'm
Okay.
working with an organization out of Tampa, and it's a out-of-the-box fix for a lot of stuff, but primarily coastal sea life. And they pay us to do it. So
I like that.
it's not coming from the state, and it's not coming from the counties.
Okay.
So
We'll talk about that.
I'll introduce you to the folks, and maybe we can get it. Maybe Pasco County will be the first one.
I appreciate it. I'd like to say, I greatly appreciate this format, this forum,
Absolutely.
you guys coming forward so we can talk about the ideas. We get your perspective, you get ours, and we can figure out, okay, how can we go together, work together, get stuff done for the citizens. So I thank you all for coming out here. It means a lot to us.
I would say so too. Commissioner Waitman wants to say something, and then, anyone else who wants to have some closing thoughts.
As the state goes up the session and starts looking at property taxes and just having a general conversation, talking with Bill Cronin and EDC and other economic development folks, if the state would be willing to take a look at tangible taxes and the benefit of modifying tangible taxes to business and commerce and maybe eliminating them, could really potentially have a real economic benefit to the taxpayer and businesses themselves. And I don't know if there's any appetite to incorporate tangibles into the study. Maybe that'd be pretty cool to see y'all talk about those.
Yeah, I wouldn't be opposed to it. My concern would be around farming and ag, since we're having such a major issue in the country for ag and farmland, and farmers actually losing their shirt. In fact, I'm looking at several farms in Georgia that are getting ready to close down because of that. So I would be reluctant to affect ag, and then so when you start separating businesses, who picks winners and losers is it's not very fair, right? So I don't know if I'd be on board with that. I would be on board with maybe going back to putting the rent tax back in, which I think we just removed last session. And actually helping, people who have lived here their entire life versus people that don't live here. But, the business tax concerns me, so.
Okay, wrapping up. Anyone have any wrapping up comments?
I think maybe just go to the reps.
Yeah, Representative Maggard?
No, these are always very good to sit down and talk. I mean, this is the second time, right?
Yes, sir.
And just be able to open up and have open dialogue about what's the needs. I mean, the bottom line is our citizens, right? All of them vote for every one of us. So at the end of the day, it's their money, it's not ours. And we need to always remember that when we're spending their money, is that where, can you write a check for 12 million, or can you write a check for $1 million? Because people here are. And I think we always should be cognizant of that. I think I can just tell you from the House perspective, and I think the Senate's on the same way, we're probably not real big fans of the property tax. We think there's a lot of other ways to help the people other than that at the end of the day. But going forward, we'll see. I can just tell you as of today, I don't think we're big fans of it. We weren't big fans of it last session. That's why you saw some of the things that you did, especially from the House side, sales tax and things along those natures. But, the good thing that came out of last year, you had 3 organizations trying to figure out how to give people back their money. And that was really the bottom line. We were trying to give you money back. We just couldn't agree on how to give you money back. That's crazy enough. But, that's what the main takeaway we would like to have coming out of that. With all of what happened, at the end of the day, that's what we all were trying to accomplish. Going forward, we really, we just, things have changed. The House has been shifting things. We just got our committee assignments yesterday. A lot of things have been shifting. A lot of things are still being shifted. We don't know until October 5th right now, at the moment, what's really going to take place and what we're going to be doing and where we're going to be heading. But the budget will always be number one, I can tell you. So that will be the topic of conversation. And our goal is to make sure we bring back as much as the taxpayers' money back to this county as we can that they've paid into the system, right? And that's what our goal is, and that's what we try to do as a delegation. I don't know a member who doesn't think the same thing. But you've got 40 senators, 120 House trying to do the same thing. So that's our goal going into it. Bills that come up that we pass, there's no perfect bill. I've learned that. And we find out that we'll pass a bill and we'll go, didn't see that one coming. But we can come back and change it. And we will do that. We'll take a look at it, Dave, and see if there's a problem there with that. We'll find out what it is. It shouldn't be hard for that. And then we can get back with you on that one. That's something we can turn around and come back on. But, my thing is to continue to have these. It's anything in life, marriages, whatever it is, I don't go down this road. Communication's the key. Is when we don't talk, we have a problem because then we start assuming.
Yeah.
And it never is assuming the good side. It's always the bad side. Sorry dogs are because, it could be cleared up because of conversation. The good thing I hope that you understand is the county. Y'all have our cell phone numbers. Just we're a call away. Just call. You got a question, just call. Same way for us. We should be able to call and reach out to you. Why? And it doesn't mean we're attacking, doesn't mean we're trying to change the world or whatever. We need to know something because we have constituents calling us. So the more open dialogue we have, the better off we should be. So, thank you.
Thank you. I wanted to share something with you that I think you can be very proud of, and this is from the Florida Department of Revenue. In Pasco County, so we're the 11th largest county in the state. Are we still 11? Did we moved up to 10?
It's hard to keep track of these days.
Population-wise. We rank 30th on the per capita county government property tax levies. So we're well below the state average. We're just below Okeechobee. We're just below Okeechobee. Just below Okeechobee.
You're not even halfway yet. I'm trying. Come on. You're
Man, I was going to end with a good note. And then you go and do that. Come on.
I'm proud of that. Okay. Go ahead, Representative Steele.
Yeah, let's be at the bottom of that one.
That's Taylor Union.
That's one of those things you want to be the last, not in the middle. I appreciate this meeting. I came in here not knowing what to expect, and I come across as abrasive, and sometimes it's just me talking, and I'm not trying to be abrasive, and I'm just trying to get some thoughts out, and if I don't get them out, I lose them, and so sometimes I'm diarrhea of the mouth. But I think if you unite all of us in making decisions, you're going to have the best outcome for the people who live in our community. And I think that's the most important thing we do. We sit down and actually communicate and figure out what the best pathway is. And it's not a matter of manhandling or kid glove handling. It's just a matter of sitting down and ironing through the ins and outs. So I look forward to helping on some of the things I wrote down. I'm gonna look into seeing if we can fix those pretty easily. Waiting for the documents that you guys want to send us so we can see if we can address those bills. But going back to what Rep. Maggard said is, these bills come across our table, and when it's coming from the Senate, It probably was a House bill. The House bill went over there one way, and the Senate changed it to fit something they want. Sort of like that that bill last year. I stood by you guys.
Live local?
It's not live local. It's steal land and change the future of it. But yeah, live local. You can call it live local. I was against that bill. I'm still against the bill. They even actually ran something this session to help live local better, which is worse for us. So those things sometimes are out of our control, and it's not a matter of us not wanting to say no. We do say no. It's just there's 120 of us voting on that, not just 2 of us, and so or 4 of us. But we're here to support the community and the residents first, and so that's where I come from. I come with that mindset, like how can we make this better, cheaper for the residents of Pasco County and the state of Florida. So thank you guys for inviting me. I appreciate that.
Do any of the aides want to speak for? Want to make sure your
They better not.
your reps and senators are well represented here. Okay.
Madam Chair, too, I wanted to just let you know that Andrew Khalil has been online. There was a technical difficulty earlier, but he's online listening right now.
Excellent.
Okay.
County Administrator, anything else?
No, ma'am, other than I just want to thank all the elected officials for attending this workshop. I agree. I think it's the more we communicate, the better we're going to be, because at the end of the day, this is about the taxpayers and the citizens of Pasco County. So thank you for that. Thank you to our lobbyist team, Joanna, and our legislative team, and our team members too, who worked very hard to bring this information to the folks here to make good decisions today. So I think we have enough that we can move forward and bring a legislative platform back to the board for consideration. So thank you.
Okay, okay, well, I'll end it there. I will contact each one of you separately. And we thank everybody, and have a safe drive back home or to your office.